Good morning.
Hey, Big Daddy, how you doing?
Good morning.
Wrong, sir. Wrong.
I agree, William.
No, I was doing that about how you plugged your headphones in.
No, look, it's officially time for Rob Brown and moving on from these headphones. All right, it's the same pair I've had since I moved here. I've had these cans 4 years. Next week will be 4 years I have been in the saddle here at the Radio Ranch, and these cans were the ones that I bought when I got here. And they have finally given out. There's a loose wire somewhere in there, and they keep going out on me. And it leads to this situation where at the beginning of the show, Zoe's playing the kid talking, and Corey and Willy Wonka and Charles Barkley and whoever else he's got in the board, while I have to like position the wire just right. It's got to be in the right spot. It's got to be at the right angle. It's, jokes about your wife aside, I can't get, it's got to be just in the right spot to work.
I like how you snuck that in there, so to speak. I used to work with a host for a very long time who was upset because headphones weren't provided after a certain time. So he went out and bought the cheapest headphones he could find. The problem is they broke like every 2 weeks. So he had to keep going out and buying them. I'm just like, if you just spent money on them, I ain't buying it, to just go out and buy the cheap ones. And he would sit on them, or he would pull the cord too hard and they'd be gone. So how much did you pay for those?
$80.
Yeah.
And look, I got 4 years out of them.
That's how much I paid for these. So I suggest you go down the road and get you.
So I'll tell you what I want to do.
Go to Guitar Center. That's where I usually go. But I have an unusual size head, so I have to, and I'm aware of it. Thank you, people. I'm aware that's an unusual size head. At least it's not a Paul White head, although it could be. So I have to go try them on. I can't just go, let me buy these online. I have to go make sure that they will fit my head.
See, I want the Deck rocks these. I want the FBI earpiece style, curl at the back and then they go in over the ear. And that way it looks like you're not wearing headphones. That's what I want. I want to go modern. I want to go 2023. I'm going to tell you right now, the addition to Rob Brown.
You would break those so fast, I think.
No, they're loose. They're like a loose plastic, right? So they're moldable.
Yeah,
they mold.
That pen is loose in your hand, and every day it finds its way.
I'm not going to be tossing my headphone. Okay, I probably would. I want those. They look sleek. They give you the I'm not wearing headphones because I'm that relaxed look. I appreciate that. I like that. The only problem is the number one issue with headphones and adapters in radio is inevitably somebody forgets theirs and just borrows yours. And if I sink a couple $100 into a legit over-the-ear piece, I know for a fact it's going to go MIA in a week. Like there's no chance.
So this is just one ear.
No, it goes over both. You can get a one ear.
Because one ear, if I did that would be a problem.
I hate it. Put it back. Thank you.
Yeah, because
I hate it so much.
Thank you, Diesel.
All right, we got a show lined up for you today. A lot of stuff to talk about, ladies and gentlemen. Charlie Baker, the president of the NC. Oh, hi, Lonzo. How you doing, buddy?
I'm good.
That'd have been rude to just.
I'm much better today than I was yesterday. So there you go. Nothing like a 3-hour crashing nap when you go home to get your days adjusted back to where they need to be.
I hosted BetMGM tonight, last night from 7 to 11.
Did it go well?
It went exceptionally well. It always does. I enjoy sitting on that show. And, of course, everybody loves Rob. So, it went real good. The only issue was that knowing that not only did I have to be on the air for 4 more hours. So, those of you around the upstate yesterday, you got 8 hours of Rob Brown on the radio yesterday. You're welcome, or I'm sorry, whichever is more appropriate. The problem going in was I knew good and gosh darned well I was going to be exhausted. So I went home yesterday. You just talked about taking a nap. Don't you big time me? You big time me.
I didn't complain about it. I was happy that I took the nap. That it helped me adjust my days.
That's all I was going to say. I was going to say the same thing. And then you hit me with a baby crying for saying exactly what you said.
No, that's not exactly what
I was going to say was I had 8 hours yesterday. I went home. I caught like a 3-hour nap in the middle of it, which was great because I knew I needed it. You got to go hard in the paint on BetMGM tonight. And then when
that's because it's
national.
So you're like all over the
Yep.
all over the world. Yeah.
I knew when it was over at 11. I was going to be done talking. I knew the fiance was going to be asleep. I thought that's it. Catch a 3-hour nap in the daytime, finish at 11, maybe an hour of show prep, go to bed at midnight, wake up at 3:30. That's going to be fine. Wired at midnight, wide open, full throttle at midnight last night. Basically, and I think it was because of the nap. So we're on the rebound today. We're fine. We're good. We're good this AM. We're going full throttle, 4 hours. Can't wait. It is just going to be a mental fist fight not to go home and go back to sleep when the show's over today. It's going to be a fight to stay alive.
I could find you some more work.
I don't need it.
Yeah,
I don't need it.
It's
not a matter of needing more work. I've got plenty. It's just a matter of not going home, not saying, "Oh, I'm just going to work from home the rest of this afternoon," knowing full well the bed's right there. That's all right. We're going to get through it.
Wait, so you nap in the bed?
Oh, hell yeah.
Nah, that's just a mistake for me. You go nap in the bed, it's like your body's like, okay, you're in the room where you sleep all night.
Don't matter to me. Couch,
so
bed,
no couch nap.
Couch,
you got a couch nap,
floor,
man.
Bathtub. If I pass out for a nap, I'm down. That's it. All right.
I fall asleep with a game controller in my hand, and I'm good in the game room.
I can't sleep sitting up. And if I lay on a couch, I might as well just lay in the bed. We've got a lot we need to get to on the radio broadcast today. Charlie Baker, Presidente of the NCAA, sat down for an interview yesterday with ESPN. I'm going to stop doing that now, but it was a very interesting interview that I think we need to talk about. He had some comments on the efforts of Congress to potentially put limitations on the NCAA transfer rules. We're going to talk about what Charlie Baker had to say about that yesterday. He had some conversation about the potential expansion of the NCAA basketball championship tournament. I'll tell you what he said about the potential move to grow the NCAA championship tournament field. We'll get into that. I would like to say nice things about Vern Lundquist, because Uncle Vern has announced that the Masters at Augusta is it for him. He is done. He is calling it a career after he is done in Augusta this year. We'll get into that. Nick Saban, a guy that I hope at this point, you all know I have immense respect for. I think he is going to go down, if he hasn't already, as one of the most important voices in the history of college football. Nick Saban yesterday said something that I went, Nick, I don't care. I don't care. I don't care about this. You're wrong, my dude. I'll tell you what that is coming up later on in the show. 24/7 Sports is an outlet that covers college football. Well, they cover college everything, frankly. Yesterday, they named 2 names that they say will be, by the end of the year, household names in the land of college football. 2 names that they say will absolutely be discussed by every radio talk show host in America by the end of the 2024 season. Both of them wear tiger paws during the football season. So we'll tell you what Clemson players 24/7 says are going to stand out in the 2024 season. OMG, you guys. OMG. There is some drama with the Chicago Bears. Big question right now. Chicago's got the number 1 overall pick in the 2024 National Football League draft. Whatever will they do with it? Well, we don't know. You can make some bets right now if you like. Do they hang on to it? Draft Caleb Williams out of USC, move on, trade Justin Fields away? Do they keep Justin Fields? Do they go and make Marvin Harrison Jr. the #1 overall draft pick and shock the nation? Do they trade down? Going to be a lot of NFL teams very excited about getting their hands potentially on a franchise quarterback this time around. What? Oh, whatever might they do? Yesterday, we got a hint because, and I mean, how does this not enthrall you, captivate you, demand your attention, and you willingly give your attention to this story? Yesterday, Lonzo, Justin Fields unfollowed the Bears on Instagram. Bump. Wait. Sorry. Wait. I have a thing for this. Yesterday, Justin Fields unfollowed the Bears on Instagram.
Yours was louder than mine, so it drowned it out. But that's fine.
Yesterday, Justin Fields unfollowed the Bears on Instagram. But wait. There's more. Immediately after unfollowing the Chicago Bears on Instagram, he immediately went on a follow spree in which he began following multiple players of the Atlanta Falcons. Of course, the Atlanta Falcons are currently sitting around 8 in the draft order. They need a quarterback right now. They got to have a guy under center. The discussion has been that Atlanta might make a big move to jump up into the top 3 to end up with whoever is available there, be it Caleb Williams, Drake May, or Jaden Daniels, that they would not want to take somebody out of the second round's worth of quarterbacks, that they would make the big jump. And it looks more and more like Justin Fields is a guy that may only be worth a 3rd or a 4th round pick, meaning it would be a bit of an experiment for the Atlanta Falcons. Justin Fields may or may not be the guy. There's a lot of us. Ryan Horvat, host of BetMGM tonight, and I had this conversation last night. We both feel that Justin Fields has got the tools in the toolkit to be that guy, although he didn't really flash greatness that often at Chicago. He did get better as this season progressed, but this might be a bit of a coup for the Atlanta Falcons, because it means they would get their guy and at 8 still be within the mix of one of the top 10 players available. Could Justin Fields be in the dirty?
Unless this is today's equivalent of I really, really like you, and Atlanta's like, who are you? I mean, it could be one of those. If you were Atlanta, what would you do? Would you go Justin Fields, or would you go with one of the college quarterbacks?
I told last night, we had a guy on the show by the name of Ian Cummings. He is a NFL draft specialist. And I got to tell you, listening to this guy, we're going to have him on this show because he was maybe one of the most thorough draft guys I've ever talked to. We asked him about the NFL wide receiver room. My dude was going like 13 wide receivers deep on the draftable list, and he had a phenomenal breakdown of all of them. And yet, I told him I thought that his take on Jaden Daniels was wrong. He said, look, I look at Jaden Daniels. He said, I look at him as Lamar Light. Like, I think he's obviously got the legs. I think he's got the ability. I think he plays undersized. He checks in about 200 pounds. Unfortunately, he runs more like Allstott than Jackson, and that's a problem. Yada, yada, yada. Great take. And I said, listen, I appreciate your take. I think you're very good at this. I'd like to have you on my local radio show. I have enjoyed this thoroughly, and you are wrong about Jaden Daniels. That kid's going to be an absolute superstar. I would, if possible. I know, I didn't really lean into that one.
Yeah, no, it was more about I don't entirely agree with the take, but we'll see.
Listen, I will also acknowledge that I'm in the minority with this take. All right? Horvat doesn't feel that way. Ian didn't feel that way. Most of the BetMGM folks I've said that to have thought I've wrong. I'd also like to point out that every single one of those people before the season started last year, when I told you Jaden Daniels was going to win the Heisman Trophy, also told me I was wrong then, and it turns out I was not.
Well, if there's a difference between college and pros. If there wasn't, Justin Fields wouldn't be on the go. because he was an excellent college football player.
I don't disagree.
I would argue a better college football player than Jaden Daniels.
Would not argue that. I would not argue that at all.
I would.
I think Jaden Daniels
But I am biased, of course.
Of course. Jaden Daniels had Malik Neighbors, and a pretty good set of wide receivers at LSU.
Oh, so you're going to do the better weapons thing? Is that what you're going to do?
Do you think that's not a real legit argument for quarterbacks?
I just don't. I think you make it into a detriment, like it's their fault. Yeah, but you have better weapons. Good for you. You know where you're going to have better weapons all the way around in the NFL, because even the weakest guy was one of the best guys in college. That's just how that works.
But that's what you were addressing. You were talking about their skill level at college. And what I was saying is, I think the weapons that Ohio State has provided over the past few years for all their quarterbacks.
Wide receiver, people. You can do. I mean, come on.
Yes, literally. That's what I'm saying. I agree. I'm not arguing. I'm literally in your camp on that one. That's why I'm saying you were the one who said at college that Justin Fields looked like a better quarterback than Jaden Daniels, and I'm fine with that take. I'm going to push back, but I've heard more lunatic takes. Okay, I'll put it that way.
It's not a lunatic take.
I'm not saying that one is. I'm saying I have heard worse takes about college players. What I'm saying is,
what you're saying is you've said more stupid things than that before.
No, I'm saying I have done this job for a long time. I have heard a lot of people make worse takes than that. I've heard a lot of people make a lot worse takes than that. I don't think that's a bad take. I disagree with it, but I don't think it's bad. I don't think it's
if
a bad
you're
take.
Atlanta, I mean, well, the draft is nothing but a lottery anyway, and you're taking a chance on someone who hasn't proven themselves. At least with Justin Fields, you can see the potential and know what he was able to do, and you can look at it and go, it's not so much I can fix him, it's more so I can give him the tools he needs. I can fashion an offense around what he does well, rather than him having to figure out a new offense every single stinking year.
Here's what you're gambling on, and we're going to talk about this a little bit. What you're gambling on is, all right, Justin Fields, guy that was relatively ho-hum through the early part of his career. As this past season got better, he got better, right? As he got better, as Eberflus's play calling got better, as the offense seemed to open up, Justin Fields started to look better. And the question is that because of Justin Fields, or is that because of everything else in Justin Fields went with it? And that's a hard question to answer. Here's what you're gambling on, whether you go Caleb Williams, Drake May, Jaden Daniels, or Justin Fields. With Justin Fields, I think you have now seen that he can do it at the NFL level. We just don't know how good he can do it. With, frankly, the two guys that I'm most intrigued by, which is Caleb Williams and Jaden Daniels, I think both of those guys have immensely high NFL ceilings. We just don't know if they can do it. Right? We know Justin Fields can be an adequate NFL quarterback. I just don't think his ceiling at his best is as high as I believe Caleb Williams or Jaden Daniels can be. But the gamble is I haven't seen Jaden Daniels or Caleb Williams on an NFL field, so I don't know if they've got the gray matter to do it. And if you're Atlanta, that's the bank you got to go with.
All right, I know you don't like to do this, but put your fan hat on. So as a Saints fan, who would you rather Atlanta get?
So you're asking me which of the three I think is most likely to fail?
Yes.
Drake May.
Okay. All right.
Now, I'll say this. Drake May, I think, is going to be very Josh Allen, but less athletic. I think he's got anticipation. I think he can make all the throws. I think he sees the field as well as anybody else. I just don't think that he has the risks. That being said, I also think of all the quarterbacks that we've talked about, Drake May worked with less talent than any of them. Right? He had Tez come back halfway through last season. That was the best he had. And even when Tez came back, pretty much everybody took him away. The whole game plan was take Tez away from Drake May and make him be the guy. And he didn't look like he did 2 years ago, Drake May. He didn't look like the same guy. The guy that I'm most afraid of ending up in Atlanta is Jaden Daniels. I've made no secret about that. In fact, I've already said, if Atlanta ends up with Jaden Daniels, I predict CJ Stroud levels of success for him. And by that, I mean, you're going to be a game, maybe 2, maybe 3 over 500, and Atlanta's going to win the division. That's not to say he's going to lead them to a 13-4 record and shock the world. But I think he could bring Atlanta to 10-7 and they win the NFC South because the NFC South stinks.
10 wins? When's the last time someone in the NFC South had 10 wins?
Division's
I mean, that right there is the craziest thing you've said all morning.
10 wins. Nailed it. All right, we got to take a break. When we come back, we'll talk a little bit more about this. I'm intrigued by this. And yes, dudes and dudettes, it is a month and a half away. And I don't care. We're talking NFL draft a little bit. Because not only do we have Justin Fields unfollowing the Bears on Instagram, following a bunch of Falcons on Instagram, but the first overall draft pick odds market has been shifted. Talk about all that more when we come back. Lonzo, Rob, the Rob Brown Show. It's the Fan Upstate. Mike, Carter, and everybody else lurking quietly in the background. How do you do? Great to have you. Happy whatever today is.
It's like 6:21. You shouldn't be doing anything but lurking. If you're loud, you're going to wake everybody else up.
I had a rough time getting going this morning.
Say like I did this morning when I forgot to turn the alarm off, which will wake everybody up. Just my wife, but the cat was already awake, but still. It's the cat's fault that I'm trying to get out the door without having to make, watching my feet. And I just forgot and the alarm went off and it's just like,
I have 4 alarms set on the phone. I have one on the Alexa that is set every weekday. And then I have an emergency alarm on the phone. Like, you know what I mean? Like the oops, I snoozed and I shouldn't have snoozed alarm that goes off like 20 minutes after you're supposed to be up. Regularly, the phone alarm goes off about 5 minutes before the Alexa goes off. And normally the setup for me is phone alarm wakes me up, and then I kind of lay there processing my life until the Alexa alarm goes off. The Alexa alarm is the get up out of bed alarm. But this morning, when the phone went off, I was like, let's go. I got to get going or I'm going to go back to sleep. I got up. I walked over to the Bro Cave. I started getting dressed and completely forgot to tell the Alexa not to go with the emergency alarm. And the fiance was not thrilled. Not thrilled.
how accurate is she with hurling things?
I was in an entirely different room, and the good news is you can turn Alexa off with voice. You don't have to push a button. You can go, Alexa, turn off.
And then you were out the door.
Yeah. Usually, like, I leave the lights down. Like, I can control the lights in the Bro Cave from my phone, so I just turn them on enough to see. And then right when I'm leaving, she gets the old kiss on the cheek. I love you. Good morning. Goodbye. I walked in the room this morning, and I just saw in the dark eyes. She's like, don't worry. You don't have to worry about making noise. I'm awake. I was like, yeah, sorry.
According to Bleacher Report, Wilson has released a 3D printed airless basketball.
Saw it last night. It's wild.
Yeah. Did you see the price?
No. Couple $100.
2,500.
A couple $1,000.
2,000. Yeah.
I think I'll just buy
2.5K, whatever that is. Is that 25? That's 2,500, right?
2.5K?
Yeah, it's $2,500. Yeah. You millennials and all your stinking abbreviations, spell something out.
K is a centuries old abbreviation for 1,000.
There's also some emojis after it. A basketball.
That's true.
And a money bag.
We're big on emojis.
Still have never sent one.
Offsides with Mark Ryan.
So we got Justin Fields out here unfollowing his, for now, team on Instagram. Then Justin Fields follows that up by immediately following the players of a team that is considered to be one of the top potential targets, potential destinations for Justin Fields, the Atlanta Falcons. Now, we talked a little bit about the QBs that are available to Atlanta, that are available to the teams that are drafting up top. We know that as it stands right now, we know that at the one spot overall, the Bears need to find a franchise quarterback. And I'm not saying that Justin Fields isn't him. I'm just saying if he is him, they need to discover that about him this year. We know at number 2, the Washington Commanders, need a quarterback. And we know at number 3, that's the New England Patriots. That's the team that most of us feel is most likely to trade out of the top 3. Because for whatever reason, they have decided, even though Mac Jones ain't the guy, even though Bailey Zappi ain't the guy, that they are more willing to lean into a veteran quarterback to step in. Now, I'm going to be real with you. I don't know who the hell that is. Who's that guy right now? I like him a lot. I'm team Cole's Cash. I'm team Kirkland's signature short sleeve fleece. I'm team Costco, baby. But it ain't Kirk Cousins. Kirk Cousins ain't coming to rescue the New England Patriots. So it kind of blows my mind that the Pats have said that they will go with a vet quarterback. And again, as Lonzo likes to correctly point out, routinely correctly point out, it is draft season, my dudes. And there's a lot of smoke out there, man. Always going to be a lot of smoke during draft season. The Patriots may very well just be trying to gauge the interest by putting out there, hey, we might trade this pick away and go vet. Everybody who might be interested in making that move does not have a choice but to immediately call the Patriots and go, hey, y'all for real? Y'all for real? Y'all for real gonna move that pick?
To that end, how do we know that Chicago didn't go, hey, Justin, unfollow us?
Might have.
We're gonna get you something. We're gonna get you some weapons, and you're gonna be our guy. But you just need to unfollow us and make people think that that you're on your way out of here, because that makes the pick more valuable. If they know that we're going to pick quarterback, they're going to offer more.
So there is listen, this is my favorite 2 months of the season outside of actual football. It is, because I don't know about you. I like playing detective. It's fun to me. I like to try to figure out who's lying, who's telling the truth.
Everybody wants to be Batman.
And with Chicago, sure. Now, I don't know why Justin Fields would play along with the scenario unless he wants out. But if he wants out, then it doesn't matter whether they ask him to unfollow or not.
No. So you make it look like that you're moving. That way people will go, okay, they're picking a quarterback. I got to offer more, even though they never intend to pick a quarterback.
That's a situation where Justin Fields is moving. And so if you're Justin Fields, you're not going to play along with that.
Yeah, but he's not really moving. What I'm saying is the Bears go, listen, we are keeping you. You are our quarterback of the future, but we want them to think that we're not keeping you. So this pick, we can trade out and get you more weapons.
I see what you're saying there. Here's what it comes down to. For me, I see Justin Fields as an adequate quarterback. I do not see him as a franchise quarterback. I don't think we have seen the quality out of Justin Fields, pardon me. I don't think that we have seen the quality out of Justin Fields that I can latch on to and go, that's franchise guy. That's the guy who can take you to the next level. I think he's a guy that is good enough that if you build a great team around him, he can be successful. If you build a great team around him, he's good enough to get you some dubs. I don't see him as a game-changing quarterback. Game manager, maybe. Guy that can do a little bit more than a traditional game manager, maybe. I don't see him as a breakout guy. I see him as certainly good enough to win a Super Bowl, but not a guy that if the team's playing down, you can trust him to go legs and pick you up. Mahomes, Allen, Jackson, etc. He's not in that group. And I'm not saying he can't be. I'm saying he hasn't been yet. And so if you're the Bears, you have the number 1 overall pick. You need to, no matter how you go about it, no matter what situation you end up in, you need to end up with a franchise quarterback and a good amount of talent around him. That you have to end up with that. There are a couple of teams. I think the Patriots are in this spot. I think the Bears are in this spot. There's probably 2 or 3 others. Patriots, Bears. Who else? There's 2 or 3 other teams if you give me a minute. Ravens. I think there's a couple of teams in the spot right now that have to end this draft in the positive. They have to be able to walk away from this draft and go, we definitively got better, and have everybody agree with that. I think the Bears are. I talked about this last night with the New York Yankees because they're kind of in the same spot to me. You're in a spot where anything less than perfection this year results in a complete reboot of the franchise. And I'm talking everybody. I'm talking GM. I'm talking quarterback. I'm talking coordinators. I'm talking head coach. Eberflus gets this right or he gets out. Ryan Poles gets this right or he gets out. Everybody that doesn't own the team is G-O-N gone when this is all said and done. And so if you've got to pick one of those guys that you're going to lean on to potentially be that guy, and you know that it's not just about getting the quarterback, but it's about putting a team around him to be successful now, whether it's Justin Fields or anybody else, where's the value for you? Here's another aspect of it. I talked about this earlier. This is an incredible wide receiver class. Real good wide receiver class. So, if you think Justin Fields can be the guy, you can trade that 1 pick back. You can maybe end up where you have as many as 2 more first-round picks down the line. Is that maybe a spot that you can end up getting 2 of the wide receivers out of this class? Maybe you end up with Marvin Harrison Jr. and Rome Odunze out of Washington. Could you imagine, Zoe, DJ Moore, Rome Odunze, Marvin Harrison Jr. is your 1, 2, 3 for 2 years? I could go throw for 5,000 yards if I had all 3 of those guys.
As long as you have a decent offensive line?
Yeah. Justin Fields would look like a terror if you gave him those 3 guys. Now, let's be real. That's not realistic, right? That's not realistic. But it is the number 1 overall pick. And there are a lot of people out there, I'm not one of them, but there's a lot of people out there that believe Caleb Williams is elite, like all-timer, like a guy we're going to be talking about for decades. Do you feel that way about Caleb Williams?
No.
I don't either. He feels like he's going to be fine. You know what he feels like? Justin Fields. That's what he feels like to me. Feels like Justin Fields. Guy surrounded by an immense amount of talent, coming out of college, playing for a coach that catered everything to him. In fact, I would say I'm probably, or at the time, probably was even more optimistic about Justin Fields because with Caleb Williams, Caleb kind of looks like when things were going poorly for him, didn't it kind of look like he almost melted down on the sideline a little bit at times? Did it almost look at times like Caleb Williams kind of got the I'm feeling sorry for myself face? Dude, that's when I need you as the QB to pick everybody up. And, listen, for as much crap as Cam Newton got for putting a towel over his head when things went poorly, Caleb Williams was worse than that, or at least it felt like that to me. I got news for you. In the NFL as a quarterback, you're going to lose, and you're going to lose a lot, especially as a rook. You're going to lose a lot. So I don't trust Caleb Williams. I'd almost rather have Justin Fields, to be honest with you. I would take Jaden Daniels over both of them. But I like I told Lonzo earlier, I'm alone in that thought. It's like me and a couple of characters from Waterboy that think the kid out of LSU's the guy. It's like me and what's his name? Farmer Fran? That's it. They're going to go down there, go to Chicago and win this and be a good old quarterback. Dan Marino was a quarterback, you idiot. So I like Justin Fields. I think he's got potential. Caleb Williams is the I don't want to say consensus because I don't consent, but the consensus best available quarterback in this draft. Could Lonzo be right? Could this be something where the Bears and Justin Fields were like, hey, let's have some fun. Unfollow us on the gram. Let's just watch everybody panic for the lulz. Yeah, sure. It's draft season. Nobody wants anybody to know any direction what they plan on doing. For sure. It's understandable. But there's also the aspect of this. There's also the angle of this where Chicago has to walk away with this with a QB that is the QB of the future. Can't be we're setting up the next guy. They got to have the guy here.
All right. No one's been able to explain to me how these people know someone unfollowed someone. Is there someone that's their job?
No, you can go onto people's profile and just look, and it shows you.
Yeah, but
it's Justin Fields. This has been the drama for 3 months. I promise you, every day there is an intern at every news channel.
That's what I'm saying.
That goes in and looks at his followers.
So that's your job, just to look at celebrities or look at sports guys or sports people and see when they unfollow someone.
I certainly think.
Or was something, we'll say, Chicago told him to unfollow, and then they just kind of leaked it. And let people know. I mean, if you're going to play the game, you got to play it all the way through.
If there's a 2-month period where I absolutely push subscribe to Lonzo's conspiracy theories, it's draft season. 100% I will subscribe to Zoe's conspiracy theories during draft season. Justin Fields right now is the key to what everybody else is setting up to do in the draft. And everybody has got 2 plans. What do we do if, 3. What do we do if the Bears keep Justin Fields? What do we do if the Bears put him on the block? And what do we do if they just come out and announce that he's moved? What do we do if the Bears tomorrow say Justin Fields is available? Ring us up if you're interested. What do we do if we wake up tomorrow, we just wake up to news that he's a Falcon or a Commander or a Patriot or whatever? And what do we do if we wake up tomorrow and the Bears say, no, we're keeping this guy and we're drafting number 1? Justin Fields is the key to all of it. So it makes sense that some media dorks out there are waking up every day and immediately going to Justin Fields' social media, because I've done it. A lot of us have done it. Sometimes when you're in a tough situation, sometimes when you're in a bad spot, sometimes when things are kind of rough on you out there and you knock back 1 or 2, 3, 2, 4 too many Jack and Cokes, you pop on Twitter and you just tweet through the pain, bro. You just tweet through it. I came home and my girlfriend was with her gym instructor. I got to tweet about it. And sometimes you say and do dumb things. You say and do dumb things. And so, yes, every single day, there's some interns nationwide that pop onto social media and they start making a look-see to see if Justin Fields said or did anything last night on social that can give them a lean one way or the other. Because whoever breaks that story is going to own the internet for a couple hours, that's what we do now. That's the goal. Go viral. So whoever gets the jump on the Justin Fields story is going to own the internet for a minute. They're going to have Adam Schefter quoting them. They're going to have every Bears fan in America screaming at him over the website, which, of course, as Alonzo knows well, means you type in all caps. That's how you yell on the internet. And they're gonna kind of rule the roost for a minute. So yeah, there's 100% interns who wake up every day and go check and see who Justin Fields is following, for sure. This is dumb. This is dumb, but it's also very interesting. It really is, because it certainly is. And again, Lonzo might be right. Like I said, it's conspiracy season. It might be at work. It might be the Bears just gauging interest. Justin Fields has unfollowed the Chicago Bears. Well, if you're the New England Patriots and maybe you weren't super interested, but now you're super interested, aren't you waking up today and immediately making the phone call to Chicago? Hey, we saw old Justin Fields unfollowed you on Instagram. Seems like you guys are having a rough time over there. Seems like maybe your conversations haven't gone as smoothly as you like, and I'd just like you to know that, Chicago, I'm here for you. I know it stings to wake up and find out you've been unfollowed. There's nothing worse in 2024 than the dreaded unfollow. So we're here if you need to talk. And by talk, I mean make an offer to trade him out of Chicago to us. Could it be conspiracy season time? Hell yeah, it could. It's the draft. On the flip side, Chicago has to get it right. And I think Chicago, like me, looks and goes, he's a good quarterback. Is he the quarterback that we trust to be the franchise moving forward? I don't. Would you stake your career on Justin Fields being a franchise quarterback?
What's a career?
Your career. Everything you own.
No.
Yeah, me either.
I don't think a career is everything you own.
No, but it gets you everything you own.
That's true. Or having a wife that makes 3 times the amount of money.
Does help. Big fan. Big
Yeah.
fan. Real big fan.
Yeah.
Real big fan. I got no problem being a made man. All right, we got to take a break. We'll come back here in a minute. Speaking of those wide receivers, does Carolina make any moves in the free agency market? Because I got to tell you, I think that's the only way they're getting better at the wide receiver spot. Now, good news is, like we said earlier, deep wide receiver draft. There's the potential for a couple of first-round graded wide receivers to be available at 33 when Carolina comes on the clock with the pick they didn't send to Chicago. I'll tell you how that sets up next. Rob, Lonzo, you, the Rob Brown Show rolls on. It is the Fan Upstate.
You have lives, just not this hour.
Yep, that's fair.
I'm Tony Naziri with your sports update on the Fan Upstate. College basketball tonight, Clemson Tigers in Atlanta to take on Georgia Tech. Tigers at 17-8, 7-7 in the SEC. And a 3-game win streak snapped Saturday, losing to NC State. Tonight in the SoCon, Furman will take on the San Francisco.
I don't mean to get anybody in trouble, but he just said Clemson's SEC record. I was unaware that
also 15-12. They'll take on
got their invite.
I think you misheard.
But I'm done. I got it.
South Carolina will return to action Saturday in Oxford to take on the Ole Miss Rebels. The Gamecocks suffering back-to-back losses, now ranked 20th in the latest AP poll at 21-5. The NASCAR Cup Series will be racing Sunday at the Atlanta Motor Speedway. Xfinity Series and the Craftsman Truck Series will also race at Atlanta this weekend. Download the Odyssey app and search the Fan Upstate. Then listen anywhere on your phone. I'm Tony Naziri, and that's your Sports Flash on the Fan Upstate.
Up to the minute upstate traffic. Taking a look at 85. So far, pretty quiet ride both directions between 276 in Greenville and 26 in Spartanburg.
I'm Tony Naziri with your sports update on the Fan Upstate. College basketball tonight, Clemson Tigers in Atlanta to take on Georgia Tech. Tigers at 17-8, 7-7 in the SEC. And a 3-game win streak snapped Saturday, losing to NC State. Tonight in the SoCon, Furman will take on the Sanford Bulldogs in Birmingham. The Paladins are coming off a win against Chattanooga, winning their third straight game. They're 15-12. Wofford also 15-12. They'll take on Chattanooga Wednesday night. Terriers coming off a loss Saturday to UNC Greensboro. South Carolina will return to action Saturday in Oxford to take on the Ole Miss Rebels. The Gamecocks suffering back-to-back losses, now ranked 20th in the latest AP poll at 21-5. The NASCAR Cup Series will be racing Sunday.
I didn't hear
at
it.
Atlanta Motor Speedway.
Okay.
Xfinity Series and the Craftsman Truck Series will also race in Atlanta this weekend. I'm Tony Dozeri with your sports update on the Fan Upstate. College basketball tonight, Clemson Tigers in Atlanta to take on Georgia Tech. Tigers at 17-8, 7-7 in the SEC. And a three-game win streak snapped Saturday, losing to NC State to take on Georgia Tech. Tigers at 17-8, 7-7 in the SEC. And a three.
It's just part of what makes us America's number one breaks destination.
I'm not sure if he's saying SEC or ACC, but
This two for $3 biggie bundles let you create your own delicious combo. Choose from a sausage biscuit, egg and cheese biscuit, small seasoned potatoes, and a medium hot coffee. But it's obvious which combo's the best. Sausage biscuit and small seasoned potatoes. Well, maybe it's the fresh cracked egg and cheese biscuit with a medium hot coffee. Or two savory sausage biscuits. Whichever you pick, you can't go wrong. Choose wisely. Choose Wendy's new 2 for $3 biggie bundles. Limited time only. U.S. price and participation may vary by dollar and combo. Single item at regular price.
From the Ingalls Market Studio, the Fan.
Upstate.
thank you for catching.
77 FM.
What's that?
I said thank you for catching.
91 FM Spartanburg.
Live from the Free Odyssey CBS Sports Radio. Talk to Robin Lonzo. Call 844-FAN-PHONE. That's 844.
The Rob Brown Show carries on. It is the Fan Upstate. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. Rob and the great one Lonzo with you on a Wednesday morning, short week this week, but we're still hitting it hard. We're still rolling with it. Free agency technically underway right now in the National Football League. Yesterday, I was on BetMGM tonight. Ryan Horvat and I were going down the list of potential free agents, who might catch a tag, who might not. Obviously, that's all got to get played out. We're starting to see rumors swirling about some teams like New England not going to tag anybody. Some teams that might, Carolina, Brian Burns might catch the tag if they can't work an extension out. Although, work an extension out, Dan Morgan, get it done. All right. Guy's kind of the heart and soul of the defense right now. I was curious as to what wide receivers are out there, because that's where I think Carolina's going to have to get better. Now, I am going to go one step further and say I think this draft, if you're Carolina, has got to be offensive linemen. It's got to be. You have to have a better offensive line. I like the addition of Dave Canellis. I like the offense. I think the offense that Baker Mayfield ran last year is an offense that can be run and succeeded with by Bryce Young. But as we've pointed out, as I pointed out many times, the wide receiver core down there in Tampa was exceptionally talented. The wide receiver core in Carolina is bad. It's bad. It's just bad. It's just bad. So that to me says free agency for wide receivers is a must. Now, you're going to be in a decent cap spot if you're Carolina. T. Higgins is out there. Now, T. Higgins had a rough season this year with inconsistency. He had some injuries, but T. Higgins can also be a top-notch guy. There's a reason.
His quarterback was also
Quarterback's very good.
hurt.
Quarterback was hurt for an extended period of time.
Yes.
So you can blame some of that there and on his own injuries. This year, 656 yards, averaged 54 yards a game on 76 targets, 42 snags, 5 touchdowns. Missed a lot of time. Also, as Lonzo accurately points out, Joey Ice was on the bench as much as he was in the game. Problem with T. Higgins is I don't think he is available. I mean, he's a free agent, but I think he can be tagged if they can't get an extension done with T. Higgins. And I think they will tag him because I think the Bengals are kind of seeing I'm not going to say their window closed because as long as they have Joe Burrow, I think that window stays open. But I don't know what that was.
Let's go. Wow, that could.
I'm not going to count.
No,
that
no, you
because it
should.
came after catastrophe.
No, that's fine. You should count it. I mean, that's my first one of the week, I believe. I don't know what that was either. I was going to say talk again so we can see if it continues to do it.
That was terrifying.
And it was fine. You know what I think happened there?
I'm going to whisper.
No, I think your beard caught it. It was an aggressive head move.
My beard didn't touch that mic.
It was an aggressive head move.
I know, but my beard didn't touch the mic.
Okay, all right. That's what
I don't know what that was. Sorry to America.
Should I wake up engineering?
No.
Okay.
If it happens again, yes.
Well,
I'm going to let it roll, though.
if it happens again, you just switch that mic next to you and we'll figure it out later. Because I mean,
way over there.
Yeah, it's adjustable. It will move.
T. Higgins is going to
And
get
so
tagged.
are you, by the way.
Woof. T. Higgins is going to get tagged because I think that the current iteration of the Bengals, Joey BB in there gives you a chance, but the current iteration of the Bengals is probably up against the wall. I also think T. Higgins wants to be in Cincinnati. I think he wants to play with Joey B based on the interviews that he's done. So I don't think you can rely on him. So who else is out there? Michael Pittman Jr. from Indianapolis. Now, Michael Pittman Jr., I think, is undervalued and underappreciated. Michael Pittman Jr. had 109 catches for 1,152 yards this past season, an 11,500-yard guy who can find the end zone. And I want to point out that he did that with a rookie quarterback that's not known for his arm. He did that with Anthony Richardson and then Gardner Minshew. And all due respect to Mustache Mania, we're not talking about a top-flight quarterback here, and yet Michael Pittman still came up with those numbers. Now, the problem is I think he's another guy that's probably getting tagged. Third guy on this list, Mike Evans out of Tampa Bay, is a free agent. I will be blown away. 31 years old. You're taking a gamble here. He's an old guy at 31. But
so is Thielen back next year? So you would put another old guy in there?
If it lets me move Adam Thielen to the slot, you're dang right I would. If I get to move Adam Thielen back to where he's supposed to be, in the slot, not a number one because he's not a number one, yes, absolutely. And I don't care if it's Mike Evans at 31 or Mike Evans at 35. Put him at the one and let Thielen run the slot. But again, I think Mike Evans is getting tagged. 13 receiving touchdowns, led the NFL at 31 years of age. He is a guaranteed first ballot Hall of Famer. He has been in the league 10 years. He has 1,000 yards in all 10 of them. That dude's getting tagged.
Wouldn't you rather have a younger receiving core to go along with Bryce Young, though?
100%.
I mean, because they're probably not gonna be good for a couple of years. That's just how it goes right now. And you want some guys that will grow with him on a rookie contract where they can't really go anywhere.
100%. I don't think it's an option. That's the problem. Because to me, with this draft and the limited picks Carolina has available, what's the bigger priority, offensive line or wide receiver? I mean, they both are enormous priorities.
Offensive line.
Correct. So I think at the draft, that's where I've got to build. I think I got to go heavy on the offensive line across the draft, which means I got to go free agency for wide receivers. But as I look down the list, we're down. Let me tell you where we are on this list. I've given you the names I like. All three tagged. Marquise Brown, Hollywood, out of Arizona. 1,000-yard season in his 5-year NFL career, but has also struggled with injury. He was a first-round pick, has a ton of a ton of ability, if not availability. It's a gamble. You're gambling he can stay healthy. If this cat stays healthy, dude, he's 26. He's going to be fine. Calvin Ridley is going to be out there in Jacksonville. At one point, looked like he was going to be elite, A-plus caliber. And then he went to Atlanta, played 5 games, had a season-long gambling suspension, was up and down with the Jags, and he's 29. The shine is off Calvin Ridley, but you got to wonder, if you bring him down and you make him the number one and you put him on an offense where the expectations are not high as they were in Jacksonville, could you get that guy back to where he was when he left Atlanta? If so, that might be the move that gets made. Outside of that, I'm going to be real honest with you. I think Carolina's screwed. Lonzo, I think you've got to address offensive line. You've got to address wide receiver. And I don't think that there's enough capital to address both this year. I think you got to pick one. And it's a crap spot for Carolina to be in because with a second-year guy, listen, I know you're going to poo-poo this, and that's fine. I'm ready to fight. This is Bryce Young's rookie year this year. This upcoming year is his rookie year. Just like Trevor Lawrence's second year was his rookie year, this is his rookie year. And because this is his rookie year, you have to decide what's more important for a first-year quarterback in Bryce Young, to go get him young talent at wide receiver out of the draft and hope this offensive line gets dramatically better in the offseason, or to go get him an offensive line and say, good luck with Adam Thielen as the number one, because I don't think you can do both. And that's a tough spot to be in. Segue, something tough spot to be in. Lonzo's got a sports flash. Nailed it.
Wow, anything other than fighting over that. A 14-game win streak took the UConn Huskies all the way to the number one spot in the basketball rankings. 40 minutes against the Creighton Blue Jays ended that streak. The Jays knocked off the Huskies last night, 85-66. Creighton shot 55% from the floor and 50% from behind the line. UConn got just 4 points off the bench. Yesterday, the college football playoff managers approved the expansion of the playoffs to a 12-team starting this fall, making the expansion official. The approved model will include the 5 highest ranked teams. The vote required consensus from all of the board, which was threatened by the Pac-12, who, is now the Pac-2, and they didn't want to do that. Tune in tonight at 7 p.m. as the Furman men's basketball team takes on Samford right here on your home for Paladins football and basketball. That would be us, the Fan, upstate. Swear, I thought she was going to say still a quiet riot.
Highway 29, Wade-Hampton Boulevard still in good shape as well, with light traffic volumes between Greenville and Spartanburg. That running about 30 minutes. From the News Talk 98.9, the WORD Traffic Center, I'm Joyce Wilson on the Fan Update.
Sick and tired of achy joints? Dread the idea of surgery? You need to call QC Kinetics today. Hey, it's Charlie James. The state of healthcare is always changing. The old ideas like steroids and surgery are no longer your only options. Regenerative medicine at QC Kinetics is transforming lives with innovative, non-surgical, drug-free treatments that deliver lasting results. Knee pain, back pain, shoulder pain from arthritis or injury? Don't let this pain keep you from living your best life. QC Kinetics' advanced state-of-the-art treatments harness and direct your body's natural ability to restore and repair damaged joint tissue. This is a revolutionary approach that can get you long-term relief with no downtime. Make 2024 the year you reclaim your mobility, reclaim your independence, walk and run, play and live without the danger and trauma of surgery and without harmful drugs. Call QC Kinetics now for a free consultation. 864-448-3772. That's 864-448-3772, Greenville and Asheville.
For John's 60th birthday, his family planned to drive down old Route 6. But the trip took a detour when his wife got sick with RSV. It's a highly contagious virus that can lead to breathing problems and hospitalizations.
This year, we don't want to cancel our plans. We're protecting ourselves with Pfizer's RSV vaccine, Abrysvo, respiratory syncytial virus vaccine.
Abrysvo, a vaccine to prevent lower respiratory disease from RSV in people 60 years and older. It's not for everyone and may not protect all who receive it. Don't get Abrysvo if you've had an allergic reaction to its ingredients. A weakened immune system may decrease your response. Most common side effects are tiredness, headache, injection site pain, and muscle pain. For full prescribing information, please call 1-844-989-7284 or visit abrysvo.com.
So don't wait. Ask your pharmacist or doctor about Pfizer's RSV vaccine, Abrysvo, because every breath matters.
Wake up. Breakfast. And Nature-Made vitamins. Whatever your morning sounds like, Nature-Made fits right in. Whether you're looking for vitamin C or a multivitamin to get key nutrients, we've got you covered. Now that's a good morning. We take care of you so you can take on your day.
It's a good question, Trey. They can have both of Kansas City's tackles.
I assumed he meant good free agents.
Thank you, Steven. It wasn't, but I appreciate the compliment. Projection was good. My voice is almost completely back. Whatever that is, but you know.
Month-to-month vehicle protection plan that is now available to the public to save any driver out-of-pocket expenses on future auto repairs. Call now to find out how you can pay almost nothing for covered auto repairs. Yes, you heard that correctly. Pay almost nothing for covered auto repairs. An open phone line has been established for all drivers to call for a free quick quote. Call 800-973-7809 now. Drivers who are covered will not have to pay for covered repairs again. This protection plan is at an all-time low. Additionally, drivers who activate this vehicle protection today will also receive free roadside assistance, free towing, and car rental options at no additional cost. Call us for your free quick quote today. 800-973-7809. That's 800-973-7809.
I watched it again. Me and my wife watched it again the other day, and again, I really liked it. But because I watched the TV show of Miss Marvel, it adds so much because her family's in it and all that kind of stuff, and you know the characters. And she's just, the actress is awesome. So her fangirl in the entire time it's cool. And all the Flurigans. Lots of Flurigans.
And away we go with hour number 2, ladies and gentlemen. The Rob Brown Show carries on this lovely upstate Wednesday. Actually, it looks like it's going to be overcast and gross this morning, but who cares? We're alive. We're talking sports on a Wednesday AM. I am Rob Brown. On the other side of the metaphorical glass this AM, the guy in charge of not just this radio program, every radio program, every radio station you've ever listened to and enjoyed, Lonzo was in charge of. That's how good he is. And we are fortunate to have him join us every morning.
Man, Marconi, just like that.
We should put in for a Marconi Award. Like we could pick one up somewhere.
I don't even know how that works. I mean, I think you may have to be national, but I'm not positive.
I have no idea, to be honest with you.
They do local Grammys. Maybe they do local Marconis.
We have got a lot.
Now you got that song stuck in my head that I hate more than anything. Marconi plays the Mamba. Listen on the radio. Don't you remember? We built this stinking city on rock and roll. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you so much for that.
We built this city. Burn. We built this city on. That song gets a lot of hate, and I don't get it. I feel like it. Wait a minute. Oh, I can't show you. Sorry, I'm watching the highlights of last night's Baylor BYU game, and there's a cat playing for Baylor that on his left shoulder has a tattoo. Well, I hope they show him again. If not, I'm going to find it for you. Has a tattoo of Chucky from the Rugrats. You remember Chucky, the redheaded kid with the weird hair?
Yeah.
The spiky red hair?
Angelica, the hero of the entire thing.
Yeah, well, you would.
I've got my granddaughter saying that. My daughter hates that.
Like, I am having to remind myself actively in the moment that this kid was probably not even born when the Rugrats were on the air. But my man's got a Chucky from the Rugrats tattoo on his shoulder.
Yeah, but Nickelodeon's still going pretty strong, I think. So
yeah, but
why
the
not?
Rugrats aren't, are they?
They've had revivals. They've got T-shirts out that they didn't have a long time ago. Yeah, I mean, why not?
That's a
love that Dilly Pickles.
That's a choice, dude. That's a choice.
You know, those kids don't exist. It's all they're all imaginary friends of Angelica, right? That's the theory.
I've heard that theory before.
Yeah.
That's a choice to go into a tattoo parlor and go, give me Chucky from the Rugrats right here.
Maybe he wanted the other Chucky, and that's the one they gave him.
Oh, dude, could you imagine? Where's the knife, man? I thought you said Chucky. All right. Ladies and gentlemen, it is 7:04 in the morning. You're inside of an hour away from clocking in at the office. And when you do, it's going to be just about time to take a break and to walk down the hallway and to go over to the water cooler and start talking sports with your coworkers. And if you're going to do that, by goodness, you're going to need this.
Are you ready for the playbook of the peculiar, the almanac of the absurd, and the encyclopedia of the extraordinary? Well, you better be, because we're diving headfirst into the 3 top stories that will have your coworkers saying,
Excuse me while I whip this out.
Welcome to the water cooler cheat sheet on the Fan Upstate.
Best one yet. Best one yet.
You're welcome.
Best one yet. It is time to talk sports. It is time to talk about the top 3 sports stories of the day, the top 3 sports stories that you need to know before you get to the office and start talking sports, ladies and gentlemen. It is time for your water cooler cheat sheet. It is time for item number 1. We're coming out of Charlotte. And when I say this, I would like to go ahead and say I am very much considering making this breaking news right now. The word right now coming out of Charlotte. I'm gonna fly with it, though I am skeptical of the source of this so far. Word out of Charlotte is that Brian Burns is going to get franchise tagged sometime in the next day or two. That an extent, they just don't feel confident that they will reach an extension, but they want to keep the guy on tap. Now, the rumor that is going on right now is that Brian Burns is looking for $30 million a year. The discussion stems from the fact that this last offseason, he was asking for $27 million a year. Brian Burns had a down year. Now, I am not as down on everybody as a lot of fans are, specifically on the defense. Much to the chagrin of the great one, I have repeatedly pointed out that this defense had an unenviable task levied towards them this past season. This team, this defense, was asked to cover up the worst offense in the National Football League. This defense spent more time on the field than any other defense. This team saw more snaps, I believe, than all but 1 or 2 other defenses out there. This defense was asked to do more than the overwhelming majority, if not every single defense in the National Football League. At some point, you get tired. At some point, you run out of gas. And I suspect that was the case, not just for Brian Burns, but for everybody that played. Hence, the numbers progressively going down as the year went on, despite the fact that they were able to end the year by holding the playoff-bound Tampa Bay Buccaneers in a game where the Bucs were playing for the division crown on a day they could have still lost it to 3 field goals. A team that would go on in week 1 of the playoffs and put up a lot more points than 9. The discussion right now out of Charlotte, from what I'm reading, is that Brian Burns wants $30 million a year despite a down year after asking $27 million last year. I'm not saying Brian Burns is not worth $30 million a year. I am saying that not giving him $27 million a year last year is going to feel like a big mistake in the future. Because you might tag this guy, and I think they are going to tag him. You might tag this guy, but I think you're getting 1 more year out of him. And then I think he's gone. And I think he's gone for probably nothing or not very much. If you'd have traded Brian Burns when you traded Christian McCaffrey, if you would have traded Brian Burns when you were going fire sale, you would have ended up with a haul for Agent Zero. But instead, you decided to keep him. You decided not to give him an extension. Oh, by the way, there is the thought, I don't necessarily believe this to be accurate, But there is the thought that Agent Zero last year was kind of holding back a little bit, right? He's not playing on a future contract. Brian Burns, playing last year, was playing in a spot where, had he gotten catastrophically injured, had his career come to its conclusion, he would have not been able to make any more money in the future. And some guys are going to protect themselves.
Do you believe that, though? Because you're also trying to make money, so you don't want to look like you've lost a step. And if you're dogging it a little bit, people are going to immediately think, oh, look, he's starting to age and he's lost a step. We don't want to pay him.
What's better? Having the league opinion be that you have regressed a little bit and signing only a $20 million a year deal the next year, or blowing your ACL, your MCL, never being the same guy and not making anything.
Well, here's the thing. I mean, a lot
to
of
answer your question, no, I don't believe he did this.
Yeah,
but I wouldn't be shocked if he did.
A lot of athletes, if they try to not go full go when they go full go, that's when they do get injured.
Sure.
So, I mean, if you're out there trying not to get hurt, you're probably going to get hurt.
I think that I am. I don't believe that he was doing this. Brian Burns doesn't strike me as that kind of guy. But at the same time, he did repeatedly throughout the year talk about the fact that he wasn't playing on a contract.
Or maybe he was on a poorly coached defense and wasn't being used correctly, so it made it look like he wasn't trying as hard. Could be. I mean, that's just could be opinion. Could be.
Or maybe he was freaking exhausted because he was on the field 75% of the damn snaps every game. But that's another discussion for another moment. Here's what I will say. If they tag this guy, he's going to be there for one more year. The franchise tag is made for situations like this. Brian Burns gets his money for this year, and the Panthers get one more year to try to pull it off. What I am going to say is he's going to ask for more money next year. That price tag is going to go from 30 to, say, 34, and that's going to be the cost that you have to pay for having franchise tagged him this year. You could have traded him for a haul. You could have extended him. You did neither, and I think it's going to be a long-term expense for the Carolina Panthers. Let's get to item numero dos. Yesterday, we got two college football stories. Well, one really a college athletics story, the other college football story. Charlie Baker is el presidente of the NCAA, and yesterday, he sat down to do an interview with ESPN. He did this interview with Dan Murphy, a senior staff writer for ESPN. They talked for an hour, and they covered a lot of ground in this interview. If you get an opportunity to watch it, I sincerely suggest that you do. Like I said, there was a lot that I took out of it. I think it will be the same for you if the NCAA's decision-making processes have any impact on the way that you view college sports. There were two things primarily that stood out to me. The first was the potential expansion of the NCAA men's basketball tournament. I assume the same would be true with the women's tournament. Charlie Baker got asked, are you good with the expansion of the tournament? And I appreciated his answer. It was a very politician's answer of not really saying yes, not really saying no. What he said was, most people, if not everyone, who follow the March Madness tournament feel that the tournament is pretty much perfect as it is. And so any discussion about expansion needs to be taken with a grain of salt. It needs to be approached with careful consideration, careful thought processes, careful evaluation of potential consequences down the line, etc. And I think that's very fair. I have not gotten a reason that I really believe as to the expansion of the college basketball tournament. What the folks in charge are going to tell you is their reason is, we would like to expand access to more teams. We would like to expand access to get more mid-majors in, to get more teams out of one-and-done conferences. This is something that has impacted Furman right here in the upstate a number of times, where Furman goes on a great season, but say they drop the SoCon Conference Championship game to the Mocs And all of a sudden, even though they have a better record, they're locked out of the tournament while Chattanooga goes dancing because they got the AQ from winning the mid-major. And even though Furman was a better wire-to-wire basketball team, they get left out. It's happened. The explanation that has been given a number of times as to the expansion of the basketball tournament is we want more access. We want the opportunity for, in situations like that, a team like Furman, even if they aren't an AQ, by winning the Southern Conference, they would still get the opportunity to get in. They would still get the opportunity to play. Now, on its surface, that sounds spectacular. Here's the thing. I don't think for a second that they're going to expand the tournament, say, by 32 teams, and 32 spots are going to be mid-major spots. I think they'll expand the tournament, and you're going to see more SEC and Big Ten and ACC schools get in. And I don't necessarily know that we aren't at a spot with 64. You guys know me. I'm a more sports are always good guy. More bowl games is fine with me. But I think the tournament, unlike bowl games where there's actual stakes out there, that is to say, the national championship, the more games you have to play, the more the likelihood is that the best team in America is going to get bumped. They're going to have one off night and they're going to get bumped. I think we are already at 68 teams. I think we're watered down enough. And I think if you add another 30 plus teams, even if you start awarding buys, first round buys to say the Power 5 champs, etc., I still think you are creating a situation where even I, Mr. There's always room for more sports in my life, feel like it's too watered down. There's too much.
Come on, Rob. I mean, if you got enough teams to have an NIT tournament and whatever that other tournament is called, what is that other tournament called? There's like a third tournament. Why not just combine it? Let's bring them all in. Just bring them all in. Let's just make a big. How many teams are in college basketball? How many colleges are there?
300 something.
So let's do them all. Why not? Why not?
Let's not even play the regular season. Let's just have a 340 team tournament.
Last
man standing.
Until there's some new colleges, you have a finite amount. So let's just put them all in. Why not?
I think that the tournament as it stands right now is great. I think it's watered down enough. And I think
and the play-in is exciting, just as exciting as anything else.
For the record, I enjoy the play-in.
Yeah, no.
More tournament.
I agree. But knowing that you're fighting just for that 63rd and 64th spot, I think that's interesting.
We will also point out that no play-in team has ever made the Final Four. Play-in teams don't do that.
Yet.
Right?
Yet.
Sure. But I think the more you water it down, the less impactful those first round games feel, those playing games feel, those round of 64 and 32 games feel. I think we're at a good number, and I don't see the need to expand it further.
I mean, you're adding another week if you go with 300 and something teams, right?
You're adding 60-ish games.
Yeah,
at a point
more buys.
where,
You throw in more buys. Why not?
That's the thing. When you start talking about this, I feel like it's getting overly convoluted. Let me say it this way. If you like college basketball that much, watch the regular season. Okay? Because here's the thing.
Why? Why would you do that?
Because the regular season is how you get one of those 68 spots. That's how it's determined who gets in. Don't tell me you want more spots, but regular season college basketball is boring. If you're only tuning in, I'm going to say this lovingly and respectfully. If you only tune in for March, I don't give a damn how you think the tournament should be run. I don't care. If you are tuning in March, if you were like, 64 teams, now I'm in, I don't care how you think the tournament should be run. I
just watched during the season, a game here or there to marvel at the great defense that's played in college basketball. And if all 300 and something teams were in, so much more defense I get to see.
When I figure out a way to combine your name with the word cynical, I'm going to do it. I just haven't gotten there yet.
Come on.
I'm over here writing your name next to the word cynical, seeing like where the crossover is. Where can I make this work? I'm going to get there.
Nonsensical is just that's not, that sounds good to me, I guess.
Item number 3 on the water cooler cheat sheet. We'll bring it up very quickly here because we're going to talk about it coming up in the next segment of the radio broadcast. But yesterday, the College Football Playoff Board of Managers officially extended the college football playoffs. It is now officially, starting this year, a 12-team bracket. Now, we knew that it was going to be the case, but yesterday they put the check mark next to it. Yesterday, they made it officially official that starting this upcoming season, we will have 12 teams. We also now know, and again, none of this is new information. The only new information is that it is definitely happening now, and the Pac-12 got out of the way to let it happen. We are going to go with the 5+7 model. That is to say, the 5 top-ranked conference champions will earn AQ spots. The top 4 ranked teams will get a first-round bye. The next 4 ranked teams will host the lowest 4 ranked teams on campus in the opening round. Then we will move to an Elite 8 that is in neutral sites. But there is a big piece of information that I think was probably new to most of you guys that came out yesterday. There was a new piece of information that if you are a old school football fan, like I know my guy Cody Decker is, and he's going to be upset about this, I think you'll find very interesting. So when we come back here in just a minute, I'm going to tell you what that information is. We're going to give you the rundown on all the deets about the official expansion of college football to a 12-team playoff bracket. And I will do that when we come back. My name is Rob Brown, the Great One Lonzo. On the ones and twos, the Rob Brown Show carries on. It is the Fan Upstate.
QC.
All right, guys, got a live reading. We're coming right back. Please stay right there, America. I want you all to know that I started the stream back up just in time to hear Lonzo say, we're just going to talk about TNA, which was phenomenal. And I hope I can find a way to clip that later.
I felt trapped.
Yesterday in our, I want you to know.
Total nonstop action, people.
Let me tell you how good of a friend I am to you, Lonzo.
Uh-oh.
Yesterday, talking about Buc-ee's, you also said, and I quote, I love Buc-ee's, I love the Beaver, and I didn't go pull that one either because I'm a great friend, because I'm a good person, okay? The reason that I bring this up, ladies and gentlemen, is because I
just want to say apparently I'm not, because
I'm not going to play with it anymore.
Yeah, stop it.
Been a minute since that one dropped. Coming up on Sunday at the Greenville Swamp Rabbits game, it is professional wrestling night.
Wait, is that this Sunday?
That is this Sunday, February 25th.
For some reason, I was thinking of,
Yeah.
Okay.
It is this Sunday, the 25th. It has been confirmed that the guest for Pro Wrestling Night will be WWE's own R-Truth. What's up? I also just got off the phone with the Greenville Swamp Rabbits on that break. That's why it took me a while to get back. And they have a call at 1:30 today with WWE officials and R-Truth. And they are working to get R-Truth on this show either tomorrow or Friday. If you can't do it while we are live, Lonzo and I will come in and record that interview, and we will put it up on our social media and then replay the meat and potatoes of it for you next week on the show. But R-Truth going to be in the building for the Greenville Swamp Rabbit game on Sunday. You can get tickets at swamprabbits.com. And hopefully, fingers crossed, after their call at 1:30 today, we will get R-Truth on this here radio broadcast. Mainly want to ask about his relationships with Tom and Nick Mysterio.
Yeah,
who
those
have
guys.
been scarce on the show lately.
Well, Nick has been, he said, captured or something, put hidden away. Got to figure out if he's found a way to get Nick loose.
We'll let you know if we can get R-Truth booked on the show. We are working on it, and we will have an answer for you today. I will tell you that if nothing else, on Sunday, when R-Truth is there, I will be at the meet and greet Sunday afternoon, and the Rabbits are going to at least get me 5 minutes with R-Truth to record some stuff very quickly and passing on Sunday. So we will hear from him on this show. We just don't know if it's going to be a full interview.
Get some liners, man.
Oh, I'm working on it.
Get some.
Don't you worry
liners.
about it.
Yeah.
Don't you worry about it. We're working on that. So we'll let you know if we can get that scheduled, and if we do, when it's going to happen. We'll see how it goes. Texture said, Rob, don't worry about it. If you can't get them on the main broadcast and have to tape it, nobody cares about. Yeah, no, for sure. That is only why the Swamp Rabbits are having an entire hockey night that is dedicated just to pro wrestling, because they're smart and they know, well, we don't want to sell tickets and nobody cares. So why do it? That checks out.
How could you move here or grow up here and not get that this is wrestling country?
It's Flair country, baby.
Exactly.
It's Flair country. All right, let's get to this college football expansion talk. Yesterday, the College Football Playoff Board of Managers, which is made up of school presidents and athletic directors and conference commissioners, got together to vote officially on the expansion of the college football playoffs. Now, there was a bit of concern that it would pass, and the concern that it would pass was born because of the Pac-12. Of course, the Pac-12 is now the Pac-2. The Pac-2 is trying, they are fighting for their lives right now. Of course, the remaining two Pac-12 teams do have a deal with the Mountain West Conference, where they will both play 6 Mountain West opponents as well as each other this year, and 5 out of conference, of course, because they do not have enough teams to have a conference championship. They will have a regular season conference champion. Regular season conference champions are not eligible for one of the automatic qualifiers. They would have to be an at-large team. So the Pac-2 is fighting for their lives. They are still making the argument in front of the NCAA that they should be treated as Power 5 teams. They should still receive Power 5 team payouts, et cetera, et cetera. And that's a very interesting story, and we will keep an eye on this moving forward. But the playoff is officially expanded. It is officially going with the 5+7 model. That is the 5 highest ranked Power 5 and mid-major or smaller conference champions, as well as the next 7 highest ranked teams. That does not, just so we're clear, does not guarantee that all 4 Power 4 champions will go in. There has only been 1 year, but there has been 1 year where an ACC champion would have gotten left out. The year that Pittsburgh won the ACC, they won it at 10-2. There were 2 smaller conference champs undefeated that were ranked higher than the 10-2, or should I say, I guess 11-2 Pitt Panthers that year. And because it is Pitt Panther time, or it was Pitt Panther time, not Clemson, not Florida State, not Miami, the ACC that year in the 5+7 model would have been left out of the playoffs, at least as an automatic qualifier. Pitt would have probably been in as an at-large team that year, meaning that they would have been on the road playing at one of those smaller schools as an ACC champion. So it's not a guarantee that it's going to be 4 Power 4 champs plus the highest ranked non-Power 5 or non-Power 4 champ, but that is how it's going to be most years.
All right, so I have a question. I don't know if you know this or if it was, or I missed it when you were reading it. Is this a year-to-year thing, or is this as far as the expansion? So it's going to be this way going forward? Is there a contract? Because I'm asking this because with the SEC and the Big Ten taking teams, what happens if another conference folds?
For now, it is in play for the foreseeable future. It is likely going to stay that way through the end of the current contract, which, if I recall, is 2031. I could have that number wrong. I'm doing that off the top of my head, but it's going to stay that way for the foreseeable future. Now,
which would be 7 years from now. Do you really think that the SEC and the Big Ten won't absorb another conference between now and 7 years?
Not only do I not think that, but there's something else coming down the pipe. There's something else I want you to pay attention to, because there's going to be a day when I'm going to say on this here radio show, hey, remember back on February, what's today, 21st of 2024, when I told you this was going to happen? The Big Ten and the SEC are going to, at some point in the future, ask for more spots to be guaranteed to them. I can go ahead and call that shot now. The Big Ten and the SEC are at some point going to formally, now the discussion has been that this has already been a conversation that has been going on amongst the board of managers. But I will tell you that I think at some point in the near future, there is going to be a spot where the SEC and the Big Ten are going to go to the football board of managers, and they're going to say, hey, listen, we want our champion, but we also think that our conference runner-up should be given a spot too. Because they're always going to be 11-1 or 12-1 or 11-2, but their second loss is to the SEC or the Big Ten champion. I would not be shocked in the probably not so distant future if the Big Ten and the Southeastern Conference ask for another guaranteed spot, ask for another automatic qualifier spot. Basically, if you participate in the Big Ten or the SEC championship game, whether you win or you lose, you will be gifted a playoff spot. And to be honest with you, because of the financial implications, I would not ultimately be shocked if that passes. Hey, listen, they've built up these power teams. The majority of the best teams in America belong to the SEC or the Big Ten. And if and when, and I'm emphasizing if and emphasizing when, if and when the ACC implodes, and we don't know what it's going to be. Like I said, we're keeping an eye on this Florida State lawsuit situation. The ACC has asked that FSU's lawsuit be put on hold. FSU has asked that the ACC's be put on hold. They are fighting it out. If Florida State finds out a way to implode the ACC with the call coming from inside the house, And those teams are split, as they will be. At least the top teams out of the ACC are split between the Big Ten and the SEC. This argument will compound even further. Number one, you would probably drop to a 4+8 model, because at that point you'd have the Power 3, the Big Ten, the SEC, and the Big 12. And you would likely see the majority of the big teams go Big Ten, the majority go to the SEC, the rest sprinkled into the Big 12, and my bet is you would go 4+8, although I could see it go back to 6+6, where both teams in the SEC title game, both teams in the Big Ten title game, and the champ of the Big 12 are all given playoff spots, and then it's the next 6 teams after that. Or you might even end up with the, what would that? You would have the 2 from the SEC, the 2 from the Big Ten, the 1 champion of the Big 12, unless the Big 12 can successfully argue that they should be treated the same way as the Power 2 of the SEC and the Big Ten, and then your additional next highest ranked conference champion out of the MAC or the WAC or wherever they come from. I don't know how all that plays out. So I would say it's settled for now. The Pac-12 basically got to the point where I think they realized, all right, we're not going to be treated like a Power 5 team. And the longer that we hold up the advancement of college football, because of our struggle, the worse we're going to look. And the worse we're going to look, the harder it's going to be to get TV networks to work with us if and when we ever reach a spot that we fill this conference back up. If the ACC dies and we get, let's say, Stanford back, we get SMU in the fold, the Mountain West becomes part of us, and if we can make the argument that we deserve to continue to be considered a Power 5 conference, it's going to be real hard to negotiate television contracts if we are keeping those TV companies from making fat stacks in the playoffs this year. So they kind of had to fold on this. And it's unsurprising that they did, as we have said on this show 7 times so far. If you have any question about why a decision got made, just look at the financials behind it. Look at the money that would move because of the consequences of that action. And I think that's kind of where this ended up at. So the Pac-12 gets out of the way. We are officially going to a 12-team playoff. We are officially going to the 5+7 model. It is completely and entirely unsurprising to anyone who has been paying any level of attention at all to this situation. It is what it is. It is what it is. So that's done. I think the next step, aside from obviously having the playoffs this upcoming season, the 12-team playoff this upcoming season, is going to see what else the Big Ten and the SEC push for and how many of those concessions are granted. At some point, the College Football Playoff Committee has got to go, all right, listen, we've given you about everything we can give you, right? We've given you just about everything that we can give you. We can't really add anything more to this. So we just got to kind of be okay with where it is. Power conferences, Big Ten and SEC. You guys are just going to kind of have to accept the situation that you find yourself in and be happy with where you are. It's not going to stop them, from asking. And frankly, they'll get some. I just don't know how much. We're going to keep an eye on that as this story continues to develop. Hey, when we come back in just a minute, since we're talking college football, Nick Saban.
What are we doing?
Said some stuff yesterday that kind of got my goat, as the expression goes. And I'm going to probably make some of you mad in the next segment. Rob Alonzo and you on the Rob Brown Show. It's the Fan Upstate.
Smith.
All right, guys, one more live reading. We're coming right back. Stay right there, please, and thank you. a fact, but at least in the state of Alabama, it's being pretty much accepted right now that the reason Nick Saban decided to bail from Alabama to go ahead and retire was because he did not want to live in the NIL/transfer portal landscape. And for the record, I don't fault him. I don't. It's hard work. It's a lot more hard work than it's ever been before. And Nick Saban is over 70 years old. I know he doesn't look like it, but he is. I'm going to tell you right now, I hope that at 70 years old, I'm not having to deal with massive changes to the industry that I've been in for 45 plus years. I'm sure I will. I just hope that I don't. Now,
you really plan on being on radio in your 70s?
I don't not plan on it.
Okay. All right.
Like, I'm good at it and I enjoy it. I don't know if it'll be that way forever. You know, I'm sure at some point my attitude will shift from, hey, life changes, build a bridge and get over it, to these damn kids out here changing my... No, they want me doing holograms. Nick Saban said last night, and I quote, if Coach Bryant or Coach Bowden, of course referencing Bobby and the Bear, be a great band name, by the way. If Coach Bryant or Coach Bowden could all they think of college football right now, that should be the very reason that we're all very much committed to what we can do to make college football something where players can have a great quality of life, but we can still have a venue where they have an opportunity to grow and learn and be successful. I would like to be a part of trying to help people that are working hard to make that happen, like Greg Sankey, like Greg Byrne, like our conference commissioners are trying to do. That's really, really important for young people, and it's something that we're very much committed to doing. End quote. Let me make this clear. And the statement that I'm going to make that is going to upset some of you. I don't give what Bear Bryant would think about today's college football. I don't give about what Bobby Bowden would think about today's college football. I have immense respect for both of them. Bear Bryant was a trailblazer in college football. Bobby Bowden was a guy I got to have multiple sit-down interviews with and was, and I mean this, potentially the nicest human being on planet Earth. Bobby Bowden is a hero of mine. If you come to the Casa de Love and go into the Bro Cave, you will see a shelf of books about sports. On the very top of that bookshelf, one book sits by itself. It was Bobby Bowden's autobiography, and it is personally inscribed and autographed to me because I broke a cardinal rule of broadcasting. If you are a broadcaster and you get an opportunity to do an interview, a sit-down formal interview with a guy, you don't go, can I get a selfie and an autograph? You don't do that.
Okay, you say it's a cardinal rule. Where's this written down at?
It is an unwritten rule.
Okay,
And you know how
right.
big of a fan I am of unwritten rules.
I'm not being critical of that. I had never written that. Read that rule.
It is a mark of professionalism passed down from journalist to journalist. I broke that rule because of my respect, admiration, and appreciation of Bobby Bowden from my time broadcasting in Florida. I have immense respect for both of these men. Both of them, you cannot tell the story of college football without Bear Bryant. You cannot tell the story of college football without Bobby Bowden. No one's going to argue with that. I also do not care what either one of them would think about college football in 2024 because it's not the same thing. It's not. I don't care what the Wright brothers have to say about air travel in 2024. It's not the same thing.
Wouldn't you like to see the look on their faces, though?
They'd be stunned.
Yes.
We went 70 years between plane flight number one and the moon. It's pretty impressive. And therefore, the advancement of that industry makes what they have to say irrelevant to it. It's cool to get people's opinions. Would I be curious about Bobby's opinion? Sure, 100%. But it doesn't mean that I would change anything because of it. I don't care. I don't. These guys have been out of college football for decades now. Bear Bryant, a lot of decades. Bobby Bowden, a couple. I don't care.
Well, they're both dead, so, I mean, that would be a lot of,
Obviously.
I mean,
Real hard for them to comment even if we could. But the point here is, Nick, I care about what you have to say about college football. You are still a power player, for sure. I don't care. Don't hit me with the old man, President Eisenhower. I don't care. We're not that. Those days are gone. You know, when Henry Ford built the Model T, I don't care. I don't care what he thinks about the Nissan Altima. It doesn't matter. He's been out of the game so long that his feelings and viewpoints are irrelevant to it. Here's the thing that drives me nuts. I said this about Loxley. I've said it about Dabo. I've said it about Shane. I've said it about everybody. Please stop using, well, we got to do what's best for the athletes as a justification for doing what you want to do. Nothing drives me crazier than when somebody says, well, we have to do this once you think of the kids. And it's like, yeah, it's really funny that you want to do it for the kids when you know it's going to make you rich as hell. Shouldn't we think of this disadvantaged group? Yeah, we should, which is why you shouldn't be profiting off of it. Don't be hypocritical. Don't sit here and tell me, shouldn't we do this for these college? These college athletes are better off now than they have ever been in this sport. Just ask them. They'll tell you. But you want to change it because of what Bear Bryant would have thought in 1952? I don't care. Things were different back then. There's probably some opinions the Bear held that would be real cancelable in 2024. I don't care. Stop with, what would they say about the ability to help these kids? These kids are as well off as they've ever been. Stop it. Stop it. Immense respect for those guys. Have zero concern as to what their opinion would have been. A guy whose opinion does matter to me, which is why I'm going to sprint to the break right now, is Lonzo.
All right, I'm still stuck on the Nissan Altima. Where in the world did that come from? Missouri prosecutors have announced that 2 adults have been charged with murder in last week's mass shooting at the Kansas City Chiefs Super Bowl victory parade. According to court documents, the 2 men charged pulled guns and began firing within seconds of starting an argument, hitting each other and others in the process. Both are being held on bond of $1 million, and police say more charges may be added. In a 1-hour sit-down interview with ESPN, NCAA President Charlie Baker said he is not in favor of federal laws that would place limits on transfers. Baker also said he is in favor of expansion of the college basketball tournament, provided it doesn't limit accessibility for smaller schools within the field. Tune in tonight at 7 p.m. as the Furman men's basketball team takes on Samford right here on your home for Paladins football and basketball. The Fan, upstate. I mean, where did the Nissan Altima thing come from? I mean, he doesn't drive a Nissan Altima, just out of nowhere, the Nissan Altima. I will ponder that all day.
Sick and tired of achy joints? Dread the idea of surgery? You need to call QC Kinetics today. Hey, it's Charlie James. The state of healthcare is always changing. The old ideas like steroids and surgery are no longer your only options. Regenerative medicine at QC Kinetics is transforming lives with innovative, non-surgical, drug-free treatments that deliver lasting results. Knee pain, back pain, shoulder pain from arthritis or injury? Don't let this pain keep you from living your best life. QC Kinetics' advanced state-of-the-art treatments harness and direct your body's natural ability to restore and repair damaged joint tissue. This is a revolutionary approach that can get you long-term relief with no downtime. Make 2024 the year you reclaim your mobility, reclaim your independence, walk and run, play and live without the danger and trauma of surgery and without harmful drugs. Call QC Kinetics now for a free consultation. 864-448-3772.
So have you ever owned a Nissan Altima?
No, I don't
I'm
know
still
why I
just,
pulled
I mean,
Altima out.
that just was,
I'm not going to lie. I have no idea why I pulled Ultima out.
I'll be pondering that all day.
Do I want to buy this shirt? I think I want to buy this shirt.
All add up to this.
I had to look at the name to see who it was. So, I mean,
Every time I do this, my camera unfocuses. Do I want to buy this t-shirt? I think I do. It's $16. That's a pretty good deal.
at first
for a
I thought it
t-shirt.
was the Mediocrities shirt, which, have you seen those?
I have not.
Those are great. There you go. I don't know if the black ink works
Yeah, it
behind the
doesn't.
tie dye.
I think I get it in beige because then I can put it under every flannel.
There you go. I suppose that does
the only
work.
problem it has is if the shipping's going to be like $60. You know?
Yeah, but flannel season's almost over. So you're really
Then it
concerned
just
about
goes t-shirts.
Yeah, I mean, you know. I'm assuming there's a flannel season.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah. Like when it's cold. Although some hipsters wear the flannel during the summer, which is just weird because they don't sweat. And I don't know how that's possible. Must be drug related. That's all I can figure out. Shrooms keep you from sweating, dude.
Actually, I just talked myself into a refreshing spritz of peach.
Yeah, I'm buying it.
Smith and James in the next break.
10-4.
Hey, Big Daddy, how you doing?
Real good. Fourth place in the Daytona 500 winner, Corey LaJoy. Listen, I'm stoked for him. I want a win.
I know you
guy.
said fourth place winner. That's not. I mean, it's not. I mean, you're right
Listen,
there, but you didn't quite win.
I am very
I'm sure
excited.
he got some cash for being fourth place.
For sure.
But
I'm very excited about the direction of Spire Motorsports. Of course, Spire also owns the Greenville Swamp Rabbits, so we got a nice little connection with them. That's why we get Corey LaJoy once a year in here. By the way, I reached out. He is going to come on the show in a few weeks. He said he'd be willing. He's like, I can't do it every week, but I'll pop in every couple of weeks. So we'll get Corey back on the phone in a couple of weeks. Looking forward to that. Real excited about the direction of Spire Motorsports. They are still a smaller team on the circuit. They got 2 charters. That's awesome. They're still a smaller team. They are growing. And the more you have Corey LaJoy finishing fourth in races, the better off they're going to be. They're not up there with Roush Fenway, with Hendrick Motorsports. They're not in that department yet, but they raced with him in the biggest race of them all. Now I need them to put together a car for Corey LaJoy that he can go to Atlanta and compete, that he can go to Darlington and compete, that can put him in the top 5 with some regularity. Here's my question, because I read something yesterday that I got to thinking about. The more I thought about it, I'm not going to lie. I'm having like almost an existential crisis as a NASCAR fan.
sounds painful.
It stinks. I read an article yesterday that was written on Yahoo Sports about the Daytona 500. I watched it yesterday. I watched it. I had it on in the background while I was hosting BetMGM tonight with my guy Ryan Horvat last night. So I had it on in the background. I was enjoying it. And there were obviously a number of wrecks, including 2 of the big ones. One that took place on the second to last lap approaching the white flag. The caution didn't come out until William Byron crossed the white flag in the 24. NASCAR did not go to its overtime, so he got the race won despite not having to fight anybody off on the final lap. Nick Bromberg writes for Yahoo Sports, and he wrote an article, an editorial that went up on yahoosports.com yesterday. The headline quote, after once again seeing massive wrecks at Daytona, will NASCAR do anything about it? Quote, according to NASCAR's box score data, at least 80 of the 114 cars in the Daytona 500, second-tier Xfinity Series, and third-tier Truck Series race were involved in a crash during their respective races, and in reality, that number is closer to 85. A handful of cars were involved in what's listed as a 2-car crash at the start of the final lap of the 500, and numerous cars were involved in a last-lap crash during the Xfinity Series race that did not bring out a caution. The number skyrockets even further if you want to add cars from the 4th-tier ARCA Series race to the weekend crash total. official box score data isn't posted to Racing Reference, but the 80-lap race featured 9 cautions, and it would take far less time to figure out which cars weren't in wrecks than listing those that were. It's extremely fair to estimate that less than 30% of the drivers who participated in the 4 races across the Daytona weekend weren't involved in a crash, and it's a group that does not include the race winners either, including Daytona 500 winner William Byron. All 4 drivers who visited Victory Lane played at least a small part in a crash over the course of their victories. He goes on to say, quote, crashing over 70% of cars over a race weekend is simply not sustainable or the product of good racing, and it certainly won't be the norm as the NASCAR season marches on. But the mass attrition seen at Daytona is a product of the rules that govern the racing at Daytona and Talladega. It's become commonplace enough to believe that dozens of destroyed cars and trucks at the end of each Daytona and Talladega race weekend is what NASCAR wants, end quote. And he goes on to talk about the super speedway. He gives some history about Bobby Allison's horrifying crash at Talladega when his car went into the front stretch catch fence. Of course, we know what happened to Dale Earnhardt Sr. Every time this happens, there are always some changes. We went to the 5-point harness after Dale Sr. passed away due to his accident in Daytona. We have seen the soft rails be put up along the super speedway to keep guys from hurtling into the fence, et cetera, et cetera. And I think most of those changes have been positives for NASCAR. But I'm in a weird spot with the Daytona 500. Because on one hand, that's kind of the name of the game, right? Like on one hand, people tune into the Daytona 500 and wait for hashtag the big one. They wait for that moment where you got 15, 20, 25 cars all taken out one lap. The problem that you bump into, I think, is when you get down to the fact that there are 10 cars finishing the Daytona 500. And 4 of them are damaged, so they don't really have a chance to catch up with the 4 guys who made it through the race without getting dinged up. Does that need to be fixed? Is this something we need to change? I don't think that the threat of hashtag the big one is enough that it is drawing new people in. If cars hitting the wall at $190 coming out of turn 4 was enough to get new people involved, I could have asked Lonzo, not did you watch any, but how much did you watch? And he would have had an answer, as opposed to what I know is the answer, that is to say, not a lap.
0.
Right. I didn't ask him that beforehand. I just knew that was going to be the case. It would have been a pleasant surprise for him to say even 1.
Well, last year you asked me to, I believe it was last year, it could have been the year before, I don't know. You asked me to watch, a few laps, and I did, and it didn't keep me because it's not for me, but that doesn't mean it's not for you, listener.
Texter said, so is the guy mad about the crashes or mad about the waste of material and plastics? Liberal. It's a great text. Great text. Texter said, I think you give drivers 2 cars so they can just jump right in and fire up the backup car. Real good idea, real tough to execute. Once you are out for a lap because your car's toast, you're done. There's no coming back to win. And I just don't see the point of throwing a guy to backup car out there that has 0 chance to win the race. Right? So I don't know, man.
Why can't you do it like under caution? Because under what's the thing
you're still running
or
laps.
Is it red? The red.
Red stops. Caution. You're still running. You're still
okay. So
laps.
Laps still count. All right.
Laps still count under caution. And so I don't really think there's a point to sending out guys in secondary cars. They can't win unless you red flag the race every time a guy leaves the track. There's not really you're not doing anything except creating a situation where you're clogging up the lane for potential race winners. On the flip side of the argument that, hey, that's kind of why we watch Daytona, that's kind of why we watch Talladega, and that's kind of the reason that out of 30 plus races, 4 of them are at a super speedway. 4. There are 2 at Daytona. There are 2 at Talladega. 1 in the spring for both, 1 in the fall for both. And so you end up in a spot where you're going, okay, like 10% of the, not even, I guess slightly over 10% of the season are at these 2 tracks. It's not like this at Bristol. I mean, it is like this at Bristol, but at Bristol, because the track's so short, your car can get beat to hell and you can still win Bristol. Your car better get beat up at Darlington. The Darlington stripe, if you don't leave Darlington with the Darlington stripe, you didn't race at Darlington. You just turn circles. There are most of the tracks, even the cookie cutters, you can take a little damage and still win. At Daytona, if somebody spits on your car, you can't win that race anymore. You've got to have perfect aerodynamics to be able to win that race. Because if there's even one car that doesn't have a ding on it, that one car is winning. Not a question. Steve. So I don't know. It's a weird spot, and I'm very conflicted on it. On one hand, yes, I totally get it. I would like to have races on the super speedways that finish with more than 3 or 4 cars that can win. Because while there is the excitement of hashtag the big one, it kind of turns this race less into a race about skill and more a crapshoot. Now that's good. Let's be real. That is good for guys like Corey LaJoie. He's not going to frequently under Spire Motorsports bring equipment that is as tuned up as Hendrick Motorsports or Roush Fenway or Joe Gibbs. They just don't have the resources to do it. So in a situation like this, you end up in a spot where this is a great chance for a Corey LaJoie to win a race. This is why every now and then we get Woods Brothers Racing in victory lane at Daytona. You're not going to see that. Trevor Bayne won a Daytona 500. I suspect you're likely not going to see Trevor Bayne in victory lane outside of Talladega or Daytona. So is it really a problem? Is it really a problem that this is the case? Most of these accidents are caused, and Joey Logano said it in his, I don't remember if it was the presser or an interview afterwards. I just remember reading it. Joey Logano said the majority of the wrecks are caused by errant pushing. At Daytona, you are shoving each other around the racetrack. The more cars you have linked up bumper to bumper, the faster your car goes. I'm not going to get into the minutia of it. But when the air flows over a car, it pushes down on the hood and it pushes down on the trunk where the spoiler is. That's what it's designed to do. It creates downforce. You need downforce so that when your car rips at $180 into a corner, it doesn't just slide up the track into the wall. By pushing it down onto the track, it's got more friction, it's got more grip, it can turn faster through that turn. When you have another car behind you, what happens is it decreases the downforce on the trunk of your car and the hood of the car behind you. With less downforce, the car's not being driven into the asphalt, which means it can go faster. You stick another car behind the second. Now that downforce is taken off of all 3 cars. All 3 cars can go faster. You add a 4th, a 5th, a 6th car. Every car you add to this chain, there's less downforce on the hood and on the trunk of every one of the cars. And that goes up every time you add a car to the link. So every time you add a car to the link, all of those cars go faster, which is why you see so much of that race with 13 cars all linked up, nose to you-know-what of the car ahead of them, is to get as much speed as possible. The problem is when you're running those cars at 190 miles an hour, and there are quite literally less than inches between the nose of one and the tail of the other, and the downforce is decreased. Remember, the downforce is what keeps these cars from spinning all over the track when they're running that fast. When you decrease the downforce, but you increase the amount of time these cars touch each other at 180 plus miles an hour, 190 plus miles an hour, the more opportunity is for one of those cars to get loose and spin. And when they're all inches away from each other, all it takes is for one car to suddenly drop 6 miles an hour, and now you got a wreck. Now you got an accident. And because everybody's inches from each other, everybody's taking everybody else out. Joey Logano said, quote, the pushes are stupid the whole time. The whole thing, everybody just gets more and more intense. You know what's going to happen. Anyone can see it happening. You just know what it happens every year with 10 to go. There's going to be a caution, end quote. Austin Cindric, quote, once you get that few laps less in the race, it's gridlock, so you're pretty much doing your best to push. They don't have a choice. You either push or your ass gets moved to the back of the line and you don't have a chance. So these guys have to be aggressive, but with that over-aggressive driving comes the accidents. Do we want to change this up? Do we want to change the approach to this race? Do we want to create some sort of situation? Do we want to create some sort of situation where we are not in as much danger? Do we want to create some sort of situation where we decrease the likelihood of the big one, but maybe it costs some speed? Maybe it costs some level of excitement about a 14-car chain on top of another 14-car chain coming out of turn 4 towards the start-finish line. I don't know, man. Like, I feel like this guy's got a point. I feel like Nick Brumberg has a point. When you got 10 cars maybe finishing the race. On the flip side, isn't that what causes the adrenaline? Isn't that what makes the Daytona 500 special? It's not going to, listen, I get in trouble. I do not like Atlanta. The race is at Atlanta this weekend. I live 2 hours from Atlanta. I've not been to that track yet. I've been to Charlotte 4 times. I've not been to Atlanta, even though it's technically closer. Why? Because it's a boring race. The cookie cutter racetracks end up with everybody being 2 seconds away from each other, turning laps, turning circles. The only thing you're hoping for is somebody somewhere slips up, back end gets loose, they drop a couple of MPHs, and you can make up that ground and get one pass in. But these guys are excellent drivers. They don't do that. So at Atlanta, basically, you have all the top flight team cars up front, everybody else piled in behind, everybody a couple of seconds of distance. And by the end of the race, it's just a bunch of cars equidistant from each other going in circles. It's a boring race. I hate cookie cutter racetracks. I'd get rid of all of them if I could. Atlanta, gone. Texas, gone. Kansas, gone. Replace them with road courses. Replace them with another couple of super speedways. Replace them with unique tracks. Do something because they're boring as hell. But I think NASCAR's got to have a good balance between those races where anybody can win because everybody can get wrecked out, and those races where the best drivers and the best teams and the best cars are going to win more than they're not. I can't bring myself to accepting changing anything about Daytona. Texter said, took my buddy to Charlotte last year for his first race. He was amazed these cars running 3-wide, ripping 180 through the turn. It is absolutely enthralling being there. I agree. The majority of fans that I have converted to NASCAR fans, I have done it by taking them to a race. Not a cookie cutter race, not Atlanta. Take them to Daytona. Take them to Charlotte. Take them to Pocono. Take them to Darlington. Take them to Martinsville. Take them to Bristol. Take them to the tracks where stuff happens. It's a great sport. It's a sport that more people could get on board with. And I think changing the 500, the more that I taught myself through this, changing the 500 probably takes away from that. And that's the last thing that I need NASCAR doing right now. All right, we got to run to a break. I got a bunch more that we need to talk about on the radio broadcast coming up. Caitlin Clark, superstar for the Iowa Hawkeyes, has set another record, this one off the court, and one I want to talk about. I appreciate we have hit a period in professional sports where athletes are calling out their teams for being lackluster, demanding performance out of their athletes but not performing themselves. And another Boston Red Sox. Is it a Boston Red Sox, or are they an individual Boston Red Sox?
It's a Boston Red Sox.
Are they just one sock?
If you're talking about an individual
like
player.
an individual, like Rafi Devers. He's just the Boston Red Sox?
Yeah, I believe so.
That's all I'm going to think about during
Even though he has 2 feet, so he would have socks on.
But he is just one sock.
He's just one sock, yes.
Okay. Well, he made me happy yesterday. Talk about that and more coming up on the Rob Brown Show in the Fan Upstate.
Smith.
All right, guys. Last live read. Stay right there. We'll be right back. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Rob and Lonzo with you. Caitlin Clark is the face of college basketball. I am not asking if she is anymore. I am stating it as a fact at this point.
How many championships has you won?
Is that the only thing that matters? To you, it is. We know
I'm
that.
just curious. I mean, it's great that she can
As if there's
score the basketball.
300 other teams and always 4 other players on the floor with her. Zoe, I'm pretty good at this. I didn't have any awards until I ended up with a great teammate.
Wow, you're just trying to shut me up. I'm turning my mic off now.
I nailed that. I stuck that landing, man. I nailed that.
Yeah.
My loins have been tingling.
I don't know if I'd have played that one, but yeah.
Per Fanatics, which is, of course, the outfit that is completely, utterly, and entirely destroyed the Major League Baseball uniforms this year. We'll talk about that later. Per Fanatics, Caitlin Clark sold more branded merchandise, Clark branded merchandise, for the 24 hours after she broke the record than any other individual college athlete across all sports since NIL hit the landscape.
Does she have a John Cena jersey? She needs one. I mean, because that would be cool.
Would be dope. The same week that she broke the NCAA Division I scoring record on the women's side, Clark became Fanatics' top-selling college athlete in the NIL era going back to the beginning of 2022. The previous record holder, you want to take a stab at who it was? I'll give you a hint, football player.
Previous record holder for what? For what again?
For being the most successful selling player merchandise-wise since the beginning of the NIL era.
Oh, since the beginning of the NIL.
Yep. Football player.
Yeah. I know you said that. I don't know.
Shador Sanders.
Oh, okay.
Dion's boy.
All right. I see that.
After Shador Sanders led the Buffs to a 3-0 start last season before falling off heavily in conference play, Shador Sanders moved more merch than any other athlete in the NIL era. Now, granted, that's 2 years, but it's every athlete, every sport, including college football, including college basketball on both sides. Caitlin Clark has shattered those records. There was plenty of merchandising juice behind Clark's ascension, including Nike's line of apparel featuring the phrase, "You break it, you own it," which is, that's a great slogan, talking about a chase for a record. And Fanatics Collectibles line of autographed trading cards, which reportedly sold out in 10 minutes. Her Tops Now card was apparently amongst the top 10 sold, and that line also across all sports. Clark has obviously been a star in Iowa, but after she knocked off the 49 points she needed to get past Kelsey Plum in 2017, America went bananas on Caitlin Clark gear. And I personally love to see it. I love to see it. I love to see us elevate stars. I love to see it on the women's side specifically. I think it's fantastic. I told you 3 weeks ago, during the chase for the record, before she even got it, chase of the record, I said it on this show. I said it on Bet for the Cycle. I said it on BetMGM tonight. I've said it on every show that I have a voice on, which now that I'm saying them all one after the other, I realize I should probably take a nap at some point.
Such a braggart.
8 hours of radio yesterday.
Look at you.
And by the way, 7 of them were real good. So.
What was I present for the one that wasn't? I'm just curious.
Now I got to tell you, about 10:30 last night, I hit the wall. I was like, oh, Ryan, I'm done. He's like, no, bro, you got this. We finished strong. But I hit the wall hard about 10:30 last night.
Yeah, I was asleep at 10:30.
I should have been. Of course, then I had to push through it. I was all ramped up. By the time midnight rolled around, I was still twitchy. I was still ready.
Is it because you wound down too early and you hit the wall, and then you had to bust through it, and then then you got the adrenaline going? How many monsters did you drink?
I did none during BetMGM tonight.
Wow.
I know. Because I knew, I'm like, I'm already going to be amped up for this. I'm on national radio. I got to bring the best I can do. I'm already amped up. If I throw a couple of monsters down on top of this, I'm not going to bed. I'm not going to bed, period. I'll just be laying in bed with my eyes open, staring at the ceiling fan until 3:30 a.m. Doing that thing where you look at it and you try to watch one blade go in circles till you get dizzy. Don't tell me you've never done that.
No.
Everybody's done that.
I can't sleep with a fan on. It makes me sick.
Oh,
So,
I can't sleep without it.
Yeah, I won't be able to speak because I'll get so sick. So
Caitlin Clark is the face of college basketball, and America has proven it now. She sold more jerseys than Jaden Daniels when he won the Heisman, than Caleb Williams when he won nothing at all. She sold more jerseys than every college football player in the NIL era. That's incredible. It is incredible to me, not just that we are fortunate right now to see one of the greatest women's college basketball stars of all time playing out a historic season game by game, but also, and again, hate on it as you will, I don't particularly care to see an athlete on the women's side getting treated like the superstar that she is. I think that's great.
in 2024, I don't know why that you have to point that out. She's just an athlete, right?
I do, because I go to bars and to this day still hear dudes smacking down on the women's game. Still hear it. Still hear it. And I dislike it. So I'm glad to see that you can.
Well, Stephen Curry proved that the women still can't beat the men. So, I mean, it puts it to bed for another decade, right?
No, because if she had gone up against anybody except the greatest shooter in the history of the NBA, she would have won, Sabrina Ionescu. If she played anybody else on that men's three-point shooting side, she would have beaten them.
If she did, no one would have watched. That was the only matchup to make.
Steph was the reason.
Yeah,
You're not wrong. Although next year, I'd love to see her up against Dame. I'd like to see take the best three shooters from the WNBA and the best three shooters from the men's side, and let's go with it. Let's make this a team event. Let's round this out a little bit, right? Sabrina Ionescu was one starry extra point ball away from beating Steph Curry. One of those two 3-point balls goes down, she wins that contest. How big of a moment is that? So when you throw up there that Sabrina Ionescu genuinely gave Steph Curry a run for the money, and when you've got Caitlin Clark selling more jerseys than Shador, selling more jerseys than Jaden, more jerseys than Caleb, more jerseys than pick a player on the men's side. Pick any player on the men's side. Any team, any conference. It is what it is, man. It is what it is. All right. So congrats to Caitlin Clark. And also on the fact that she getting paid. Because she's got some stacks coming from these jerseys, man. She's got some stacks coming from these jerseys.
Does she have a percentage of that?
That's part of the NIL deal. Okay. That's why she's on Fanatics. 100%.
Okay. That's a good move.
It. That is a licensing in the name, image, and likeness arena.
I don't know how much they make in the WNBA, so this might be the most she makes, right?
Oh, for sure.
Especially if it's a percentage of
for
sales.
Sure.
Would you consider, if you're getting a percentage of sales, is she a senior?
She is a true senior. She can play.
But she can play one more year. I did see that.
And I wouldn't be shocked if she didn't. I would be shocked if she didn't. In 2023 season, the highest salary in the WNBA was Erica Wheeler making $242,000. Erica Ogumawale made 234.9.
How can you function with only making 200 and something?
I don't know. If anybody would like to sponsor me, I'll do the research. Be happy to. I will do my best. I'll do my best. All right. Let's take a break. When we come back here in just a minute from right now, Rafi Devers is a member of the Boston Red Sox. He is a Boston Red Sox, I think is what we've landed on. Yesterday, we told you about Mike Trout, and Mike Trout calling out Angels owner Artie Moreno. You know, the owner of the team that he plays for. Rafi Devers did the same thing to the owners of the Red Sox yesterday. and I want to hand out some flowers.
Yes!
Because I'm glad to hear those guys doing that. We'll talk about it when we come back on the Rob Brown Show in the Fan Upstate.
I'm Tony Nazeri with your sports update on the Fan Upstate. College basketball coming up tonight. Furman will travel to Birmingham. They'll take on the Sanford Bulldogs. The Paladins are coming off a win Sunday against Chattanooga, winning their third straight game. They are now 15-12, 9-5 in the SoCon. Well, the Wofford Terriers will take on Chattanooga tonight. The Terriers losing to UNC Greensboro Saturday. They are also.
I didn't, but I wish I would have. Did he?
Tonight to take on Georgia Tech. Tigers had a 3-game win streak snapped Saturday. They lost to NC State. They're now 17-8, 7-7 in the SEC. South Carolina will play again.
That's like a really old dance, though, to be referencing, isn't it? I mean, you know.
Does anyone do that unironically?
In the SEC. Download the Odyssey app and search the Fan Upstate. Then listen anywhere on your phone. I'm Tony Nazeri, and that's your sports flash on the Fan Upstate.
Up to the minute upstate traffic, northbound 85 at Pelham Road. Accident still clearing to the right shoulder, still attracting attention, and we continue to see the slow traffic from 385. Now, southbound 85, that's still seeing some slow traffic as well. Moderate to heavy from 101 heading through Highway 14. Northbound 276, no reported issue. And if your drive takes you to downtown Greenville, moderate traffic volumes along 29, 123, and 276.
Oh, she said moderate traffic volume. First, I thought she said modern traffic volume. I'm like, what is modern? Okay, moderate. Don't understand her Yankee accent.
We don't like your kind here.
Go, Yankee, go home.
Hey everybody, it's Boomer Esiason here, and eBay Motors has everything you need to keep your ride or die alive. From superchargers, brakes, exhaust kits, and more. With over 122 million parts, eBay Motors levels your baby up to its peak performance. And with eBay Guaranteed
Performance
is guaranteed to fit your ride every time or your money back. With all the parts you need at the prices you want, it's easy to bring home the win. Keep your ride or die alive at ebaymotors.com. Eligible items only. Exclusions apply.
Okay, everyone gather around. I have some exciting. Running her shoe factory, Kendra talks the talk and walks the walk. Switching to green energy. She needs a biotech consultant to erase her carbon footprint. All operations will net zero emissions. Indeed can help her hire great people fast. I need Indeed. Indeed you do. You can schedule and conduct virtual interviews all from your employer dashboard.
Well, it is ironic since I'm from Ohio. I'm just joking, you know. I learned nearly 30 years ago that anywhere north of the Mason-Dixon, and you're a Yankee, even if you're from a valley in Ohio.
Language experts to be the most efficient and effective way to learn a new language.
¿Cómo te llamas? ¿Cómo te llamas?
Babbel, language for life, celebrating 10 million subscriptions sold. Go to Babbel.com and start learning a new language today. That's BABBEL.com.
Progressive.
It was really nice out yesterday. It looks like it might be that nice today.
Driving cross country in our RV. This is so much fun, Dad. I don't even need to look at my phone.
It's not the destination, it's the journey. Jinx!
The exchange you just heard didn't actually happen, but it could. Bundle your home and other vehicles with.
So when you went back to Ohio, sorry, I was going to go into some lyrics, but I'll stop. Hey, away to go, Ohio.
From the Ingalls Market Studio,
Upstate, 97.7 FM Greenville, 91 FM Spartanburg.
from the free Odyssey. Listen on the Odyssey.
Wrapping up the third hour of the Rob Brown Show right here on the Fan Upstate. Rob and Lonzo with you. Happy Wednesday morning. Turns out maybe I was wrong. Maybe it is going to be a lovely day out there. Rafi Devers is a member of the Boston Red Sox. They play their baseball up at Fenway Park. You go up there, hit a bat, get in the cab, go down to Fenway Park, watch the Red Sox, like Baston does. I'm not going to do that anymore. I'm sorry, and you're welcome.
Yeah, he'll do it again.
100%. 100%. Yesterday, we told you about the comments of one Mike Trout, a guy that I am very, very disappointed because Mike Trout should be an all-timer. Mike Trout should be going down as one of the greatest hitters that we've ever gotten to see play the game, and he is not doing that.
It's a complete crap.
And that's very disappointing. And part of the reason why is because Artie Moreno, or as I call him, because I'm a very smart boy, Artie Morano. Hey-o! Light him up! Light his ass up! Got him! Refuses to spend money on the baseball team. He's got big demands of the baseball team, of Mike Trout, of the players, but it won't spend money. And, you got to be in a real tough spot. When on your team, you had not just the greatest hitter of this generation, but also the greatest player of any generation ever, Shohei Ohtani. And that dude walked not because exclusively of the fact that he's going to be paid almost $1 billion by the Dodgers over the next 2 decades. But because he wants to win, and the Angels, what's the word I'm looking for here? Suck. It's problematic. So Mike Trout did something very interesting. Mike Trout told the media straight up, he said, yo, I went to Artie Moreno and I was like, hey, bro, maybe, hear me out on this, sign somebody. Cody Bellinger's out there. Blake Snell's out there. Maybe just go sign somebody. Maybe just get somebody in here that can help me, help you, help us win baseball games.
Nope.
And Artie Moreno hasn't done that yet. So the journalist in question that got this comment out of Mike Trout said, is Artie going to listen to you? Is he going to do it? And here is direct audio from Mike Trout's response.
I don't know.
I don't know. I don't know if I don't quite know how to answer that, to be honest.
It's pretty impressive. I think they changed microphones halfway through. That's why it sounded like 2 different guys. But that was definitely Mike Trout. The reality here is Artie Moreno's not going to sign anybody because Artie Moreno has one objective. Cheddar. The bag. Money, 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 money. Money. That's it.
I can't believe neither one of us have a money sound.
Yeah, I need to get one. Doom, 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 ka-ching, doom, doom. All right. Artie Moreno's not going to do that because that's not what he wants to do, the whole spending money thing, despite the fact that he's looked at, I don't know, say Baltimore and the Orioles and what they did last year and realized, if you win, you make more money.
Like how to play the game.
By spending money and winning, RT. That's how. Well, Mike is not alone. Because now Rafael Devers, a fantastic player for the Boston Red Sox, one Red Sox as it would be, is now on this list as well. The All-Star third baseman made some pointed comments yesterday, did an interview with Yahoo Sports' Jake Mintz and other reporters at spring training. He said, and I quote, everybody in this organization wants to win, but our leadership needs to make an adjustment to help us players be in a better position to win. Everybody knows what we need. You know what we need. They know what we need. There's just some things I can't say out loud, but everybody that knows our organization and knows the game knows what we need. Now, I may or may not have said this on the air before, but he was talking about me because I know ball. Okay? I know ball. He was talking specifically about the fact that the Red Sox need pitching right now. Brian Bello, Lucas Giolito, Nick Pivetta, Cutter Crawford, Tanner Houck. None of whom had an ERA below 4 last year. Out there right now in the free agency pool at this moment in time is NL Cy Young winner Blake Snell. Is World Series standout Jordan Montgomery. Both available. Both looking for that contract. Both looking for that money. Yet they are, at least as far as we know, not even in the discussion right now for the Boston Red Sox. Now, I'm not saying that either one of these guys would be a great fit for the Boston Red Sox. I'll leave that up to Diddy. He'll be able to tell us. What I will say is this. They're all real good pitchers. They all have playoff dominance in the last couple of years. They are all guys that on a surface level certainly make the Bo Sox look better immediately. I'm not saying, and this the point of this segment, is not to sit here and demand that the Red Sox go out there and make the signing. That's not what I'm here to do. What I'm here to say is I very much love that Rafael Devers is going straight after ownership. I love that he's calling out the guys who make the contracts, who sign the contracts, who pay the salaries. I love that we are getting to a point, and frankly, I hope it happens more often, because here is the reality. And I'm glad Diddy just happened to be listening to the show and texted. He said, quote, "The Red Sox are acting like they're a small market team while being one of the most profitable franchises in sports. I am also demanding it." That's it. That's it. In one of the few sports that not only have a cap, but you've got luxury attached. If you've got money, New York Yankees, New York Mets, Los Angeles Dodgers, you can pay more than the cap, and you just got to give a little money back to the league. Turns out you win some World Series. That levels out pretty quick. I love that we have gotten to a spot where players are straight up going after their team. I love that we are at a spot that players are holding the front office guys accountable, because here's the thing. The folks in LA, and I'm talking about the Angels version, not the Dodgers version. The folks in LA, it's like every time I get online, there's another article about, is this the year that Mike Trout finally carries the Angels to a playoff series victory? And every time I see one, my eye starts to twitch, and I can feel the blood pumping in the vessels in my brain out of frustration, because it's not on Mike Trout. It's on Artie Moreno. It's on the GM. It's on the ownership. It's on the leadership in LA. When I look at the Red Sox, a team that sent Alex Verdugo to the Yankees, a team whose biggest acquisitions were Tyler O'Neill from St. Louis and Vaughn Grissom from Atlanta, a guy with a ton of talent, a guy with a very high ceiling, but an unproven guy in Vaughn Grissom. You got it, Lucas Giolito on a 2-year, $35 million contract. That's a fine signing. He's going to be 2 or 3 in the rotation. And you signed Liam Hendricks to a 2-year, $10 million contract. That's not a bad pickup. I love Liam Hendricks, except for Liam Hendricks is going through arm surgery and will not be pitching in 2024. So the second biggest pitching acquisition that you have ain't throwing the ball this year. I'm not a smart man. I know what love is. But if a pitcher isn't pitching, he doesn't really help you win unless he's Shohei Ohtani, who can be a DH.
Duh.
And I suspect Liam Hendricks is not going to go bat 285 with 25 home runs this year. Just a guess. Shot in the dark. So, I don't know, man. The Red Sox are a team that are just hanging out. And this, to me, is bad. In years gone by, players would have kept their mouth shut, happy to have a job, happy to have a paycheck. But the reality is, the more that we start writing these articles of, is this the year Mike Trout stops sucking when Mike Trout hasn't been that guy? Is this the year that the Red Sox talent can finally elevate? My dudes, they're an okay team that did not get better in the offseason. I freaking love Mike Trout calling out Artie Moreno. I love Rafi Devers calling out the Red Sox front office.
So what you're saying is if you have aught, it's okay to speak out against your boss?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. This is exactly what I'm saying.
Okay. So every profession, if you're out there listening and you don't like what's going on, you should go to the media and be public and speak out against your employer. Because I believe only in sports can you get away with that.
I don't. In any industry, I would also point out this is 100% accurate of Roger Goodell and Rob Manfred too. In any industry in which you, the employee, are also the face of the company, you absolutely should speak out if the people that put you out there as the face of the company are intentionally doing things that make you look worse. Unless that is your job. It's Rob Manfred's job. It's Roger Goodell's job to let the owners make decisions we all hate and then go out there and take the fall for them, to fall on the sword for them. Here's the problem if you're Rafael Devers or Mike Trout. Like I said, Rafael Devers has to go out and face the public. He's the member. If he and the owner of the Red Sox were to go walk around downtown Boston tonight, which one of those two guys is getting recognized and hounded by fans? Is it the Fenway Sports Group ownership, or is it all-star third baseman Rafael Devers?
Aren't you in danger of, though, being labeled, yeah, he's a good player, but he also is a troublemaker?
Maybe. And I can also tell you that if I was GM of the Atlanta Braves, we don't need one. We got an all-star third baseman. If I was GM of the Chicago White Sox, a team that desperately needs help on the corners, I'd have Rafi Devers. I don't care if Rafi Devers come out and straight up said, hey, yo, the Red Sox, I hate them all. I'd still sign that guy. Because anybody who, and I'm going to use Rafi's words here, knows the game. Or as we like to say on this show, Lonzo, knows ball.
You would like to say that, yeah.
Knows that Rafael Devers is not the problem. Rafael Devers is a middle, but an AL MVP possibility. Long shot, but an AL MVP possibility. He ain't the problem. The problem is, as we have mentioned, for a Red Sox team that was disappointing last year, what have they done to get better? Or are we just going to get back to next year when I'm going to have to read article after article after article after article after article about how Rafael Devers is the reason the Red Sox stink? I out-talk Chad. It's time for a sports flash.
Wow. A 14-game win streak took the UConn Huskies all the way to the number one spot in the basketball rankings. 40 minutes against the Creighton Blue Jays ended that streak. The Jays knocked off the Huskies last night, 85-66. Creighton shot 55% from the floor and 50% from behind the line. UConn got just 4 points off the bench. So disappointing. Yesterday, the college football playoff managers approved the expansion of the playoffs to a 12-team playoff starting this fall. Making the expansion official, the approved model will include the 5 highest-ranked conference champions and the next 7 highest ranked teams. The vote required consensus from all on the board, which was threatened by the Pac-12's fight to stay considered a Power 5, even though they only have 2 teams. Tune in tonight at 7 p.m. as the Furman men's basketball team takes on Sanford right here on your home for Paladins football and basketball. The Fan, Upstate. Yeah, I don't even know what word that was I said.
No reported issues between Greenville and Spartanburg. From the News Talk 98.9, the WORD Traffic Center, I'm Joyce Nielsen on the Fan Upstate.
Do you owe back taxes or have unfiled tax returns? The IRS won't quit
The
until
TWAC 12.
Here's great news.
I thought put it there.
Major changes have happened at the IRS
IRS. If you owe more than $10,000, you may be eligible for a 99% reduction of what you owe. Haven't filed a return for a while? Their happy clients are talking.
The IRS was going to levy my bank account, but Guardian was able to prevent that and fix all my IRS issues. Thanks again, Guardian Tax.
Need relief from crushing tax debt? The IRS now has special programs. Guardian Tax knows all about them. Personal or business, this is the fresh new break you've been hoping for.
We aren't the company you call when you need a hug because you're scared of the IRS. Guardian Tax is the company that wins when you need it.
When it's Steven. For sure it was.
Call now for a free confidential consultation. 800-500-3495.
I'm going to blame osmosis. It's, the room caused me to do that. Take that however you want. Have fun, moles.
Hey, it's Charlie James. The state of healthcare is always changing. The old ideas like steroids and surgery are no longer your only options. Regenerative medicine at QC Kinetics is transforming lives with innovative non-surgical drug-free treatments that deliver lasting results. Knee pain, back pain, shoulder pain from arthritis or injury. Don't let this pain keep you from living your best life. QC
And yes, I said the TWAC 12. So just to let you know, the TWAC 12.
This is a revolutionary approach that can get you long-term relief with no downtime. Make 2024 the year you reclaim your mobility, reclaim your independence, walk and run, play and live without the danger and trauma of surgery and without harmful drugs. Call QC Kinetics now for a free consultation. 864.
I'm okay with that, Steven. That works for me.
3772 Greenville and Asheville.
Smith & James Fine Men's Clothing has been helping men in the upstate look their best for
Anytime I coin a phrase or you know something, I'm down with that.
As Chris Cross once said, that's twiggity, 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 twack.
I thought that's what that said.
Yep.
Cool.
Get it. Visit either of their stores in Greer or Greenville or visit their website at smithandjames.com and look your best with Smith & James Fine Men's Clothing.
This is a special alert to all Americans who own a vehicle with less than 200,000 miles with an auto warranty about to expire or with no warranty coverage at all. Due to a decline in the economy, CarShield is announcing a low-cost month-to-month vehicle protection plan that is now available to the public to save any driver out-of-pocket expenses on future auto repairs. Call now to find out how you can pay almost nothing for covered auto repairs. Yes, you heard that correctly. Pay almost nothing for covered auto repairs. An open phone line has been established for all drivers to call for a free quick quote. Call 800-973-7809 now. Drivers who are covered will not have to pay for covered repairs again. This protection plan is at an all-time low. Additionally, drivers who activate this vehicle protection today will also receive free roadside assistance, free towing, and car rental options at no additional cost. Call us for your free quick quote today. 800-973-7809. That's 800-973-7809. What do you have to lose? Call 800-973-7809. Again, 800-973-7809.
800.
WORD Spartanburg. WFBC HD3 Greenville, the official sports voice of you, the upstate fan. CBS Sports Radio. It's live from the Freehouse here.
And check this out.
You're on official Rob Brown lockdown.
Represents freedom, freedom. Yeah.
Manufactured locally for the Carolinas.
Lockdown.
This is the Rob Brown Show.
Get robbed.
Only
Yeah. The final hour of the Rob Brown Radio Show starts now. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. It is the Fan Upstate. Good to have you. I am Rob Brown. On the other side of the metaphorical glass this AM, the guy that is in charge of this radio program and every radio program you've ever heard of, but that you liked. The great one, Lonzo, is here as well.
Let's go. We're going to go.
A lot of stuff we need to get to, a lot of stuff to talk about on the show today. We have run through a lot of it already. There is a lot more to get to on the broadcast today. Vern Lundquist has said he is stepping away from broadcasting after his 40th Masters tournament this year.
He's like 97 years old. I mean, it's not surprising.
Uncle Vern has been at it for a hot minute. He was born In the year 1940, he is 83, turning 84 in July.
By the way, awesome that someone can continue to do what they love at that age. I mean, that's really cool.
I was, respectfully, very happy that Vern left the SEC on CBS because I think the college football game got too fast for him. He is flawless at the Masters. Perfect at the Masters.
Where are they going to find someone else who talks slow for golf?
Listen, there's a lot of good young talent out there in the world of golf. The world of golf has seen an influx over the last couple of years with the departure of Tiger Woods as a weekly competitor, but the arrival of a lot of other young talent like, well, not that he's young anymore, but he was when he broke on the scene, guys like Rory McIlroy. I don't think when he decides to leave, they'll have an issue filling the spot at the Masters. And just so that we're clear, CBS, I'll do it. I'll make myself available. Okay, I can take a couple of days off.
You mean CBS Sports? You mean the CBS Sports that we kind of have an affiliation with?
That's the one.
Those CBS
That's the one.
Sports? Okay, all right.
If you guys need me,
Yeah, but dude,
I'll be happy to do it.
Dude, you'd have to go NPR voice the entire time. Can you do that the entire time?
me. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the 96th edition of the Masters live at Augusta National. My name is Rob Brown. I'll be here on the 18th with you all afternoon. My partner, Lonzo, is, of course, spending his time down on the fairway tee box. We'll be taking off here in just mere moments as Rory McIlroy from Northern Ireland will be first off. Rory McIlroy has yet to win a Masters. I don't actually know if that's true or not, but I don't have my computer in front of me right now. So I'm making up the majority of the things that I'm saying as we get our broadcast underway. Now, let's take a break for no commercials because it's Masters Thursday. Hell yeah, I could do the Masters.
I don't know. When you said Ireland, you did your accent thing. I don't think you can say Ireland without the accent thing, and I think they would frown upon that.
Northern Ireland.
See, you can't do it.
Ireland, Northern Ireland. I can't do it like that either. It's the Masters. Do better. I like Uncle Vern, man. Like I said, I think Uncle Vern got left behind when it came to football and basketball. He is spectacular when it comes to golf. The Masters will not be the same without Uncle Vern in the box. It's just going to be a different broadcast without Vern Lundquist in the game. The guy's spectacular. I'm a fan. I will miss Unc Vern on Augusta. That's it. That's all I wanted to say. Wanted to hand Vern some flowers. Guy's an all-time legend, without a doubt.
All right. At least you got one fan on the stream and said you were pretty solid. I still think it was a little too hard. I think there's a soft quality that I think is very difficult for you because of your normal everyday delivery.
All right, give it to me one more time. Give me.
Why?
Give me the view one more time. Because you did this. I was ready to move on. And then you brought this up on me. So I'm giving it another go. This is my audition. You never know. This tape might make it to the CBS Sports front office, and they go, hey, we got to replace Unc Vern. We want somebody young, vivacious, full of vigor and life and zeal, but also somebody who can, do a golf voice. What about this guy, Rob Brown?
All right. Tune in tomorrow for Two Broke Girls. Now let's go out to Masters coverage.
I wasn't ready for the curveball. All right, hang on. Thank you for joining us after another incredible episode of Two Broke Girls. I don't know if it's quite appropriate to say right now. Kat Dennings, absolute smoke show.
So hot.
The only thing on this network more beautiful than Augusta National Golf Course is Kat Dennings. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Rob Brown. It is a pleasure here. Our first Masters without the great Vern Lundquist. We send, of course, our appreciation, our gratitude for all that he did for so many years. Of course, the Masters just a number of weeks away when the PGA Tour heads to Georgia. Golf's grandest stage on full display on April 11th, a star-studded field with the likes of Rory McIlroy of Northern Ireland, Jon Rahm of Spain, Scotty Scheffler, Jordan Spieth. What the hell, producer? I'm in the middle of introing the Masters lineup here, and you just cut the music out.
Sorry.
This is CBS. We're better than you. Did not lead in from two broke girls to then just cut the music out from under the Masters intro.
Okay, boomer. And I'm not talking about the opioid. I mean, I think we know which boomer I'm talking about. At least you didn't curse.
I was nailing that.
By the way, much better. Much better.
nailing that.
So you just needed to be challenged a little bit. That's all.
Jon Rahm 19-2 on the odds boards to repeat, according to the latest 2024 Masters odds, trailing only Scotty Scheffler and Rory McIlroy, both at 15-2 odds. Tiger Woods, a 5-time Masters champion, listed amongst the most intriguing Masters tournament long shots at 75-1.
All right, your cadence changed without the music. I wonder, do they hear the music when they talk?
Yeah.
Do they?
Yeah. Yes, they do. They will have a separate knob to control the volume of it, but I can tell you that for pacing purposes, you hear the music, just like you do on this show.
Yeah, because your pacing immediately sped
100%.
up on the last part without the music.
100%.
Which is only 1 minute and 3 seconds long. I mean, I can put together an extended, but, I just remembered that I had that.
I would be lying to tell you that I haven't fallen asleep to the Masters theme on repeat multiple times in my life. Usually around late March, early April, as we get closer and closer to the tournament, it becomes a major part of my life, up to and including, hey, Alexa, play the Masters theme on loop for 30 minutes. It's a great song. It's calming. It's relaxing. And if there's one thing Rob Brown needs to do on the radio, it's calm the helm down. At least that's what I've been told over and over and over and over and over and over and over throughout my entire career. Watch out, please stop yelling. Old Unc Vern. Yeah, I'm just saying, hey, CBS Sports, listen, if you need me, I'm right here. I'm right here. Texter says, Rob, you are an employee. You are paid to work. I'm sure you didn't talk about ESPN when this program was on ESPN radio. Yeah, I did.
Yeah, we actually did.
Yeah, I did a lot,
I mean,
actually. 100% I did. Absolutely I did. Because, to me, there are two things at play here. Number one, the integrity of the employee. And number two, the fact that, especially, and this is different than, say, working for Joe's Plumbing or whatever, but a company like ESPN, when they have as much control, and I will say the same thing about CBS, and I will say the same thing about professional sports franchises, as I did about the Boston Red Sox earlier. You should be able to have your feet held to the fire and deal with criticism. You should. If you were the Red Sox and you genuinely do everything you can do to get better, you are one of the most well-known, the most lucrative, the most financially successful teams, not in America, but on planet bleeping Earth. If you are in that number and you genuinely have done everything that you can do to make the team better, you should have zero problem taking criticism from the media, from the fans, from your players, and being able to answer them. Hey, how come we haven't signed anybody? Real easy, because Blake Snell wants $50 million a year to pitch, and we're already up against the luxury tax. So, Rafi, unless you're going to take, let's say, $6 million less a year to pay that tax difference off, we can't sign Blake Snell. We wanted Jordan Montgomery. We called him. His agent said, bleep you. He don't want to play in Boston. We couldn't get that guy.
You're disappointing me. You have the sound effect, and you just,
Sorry.
I get your flow in there, but you still,
Hey, Jordan Montgomery, why don't you want to play for the Red Sox? Because Boston, that's why. You should be able to answer this. You should be able to take that criticism and fire back. Here's the problem. As Rafi pointed out, anybody who knows the game, or, again, as we like to say here on the show, anybody who knows ball can look at what the Red Sox have done this offseason and go, they're not trying to get better. They're not making an effort to get better. There are some teams that can't. The Oakland, the A's, they don't get a city name anymore. The A's, they can't do anything to get better. They can't. They don't have a home. They don't have a stadium. Their owner is an absolute piece of trash. They can't do much. There's the only group of people I might feel worse for than A's fans are A's players because they're trapped. I feel awful for them. They can't get better. There's no reason the Red Sox can't get better. There's no reason this team should not be at least trying to be in the mix for the AL East. The Blue Jays are the Blue Jays. They're not gonna, they're gonna be good, but they just can't get it done. And then you look across at the rivals in the AL East. You look at the New York Yankees. The Yankees have gotten better. They're going to get better with Juan Soto. I've already got a dime down on Juan Soto beating the American League most valuable player. I think he is going to go back to being the absolute devastating masher that he was in D.C. before he went down to San Diego, a place with a locker room so toxic, so self-involved, so individualistic that they took a veritable all-star roster and sucked.
It's a complete crap.
At an embarrassing level. Juan Soto goes to New York, a place where he's not allowed to have a beard. That's how locked down that locker room is. All you can have in New York is a mustache. You can't have a beard. Nestor Cortez would look awesome with a beard, but he can't. Got to have a mustache at most, clean shaven preferably. That's how locked down that locker room is. And to me, Juan Soto is one of those cats that being disciplined is hard for him. He has to have that discipline instilled in him from the outside. And I know that a lot of you look down on that as a personality flaw, as a character flaw. I even respect that a little bit. Because the majority of us don't end up in a situation where we can have somebody else watching us to make sure we're doing it right all the time. But when you rock the rock like Juan Soto does, and you're getting paid to do it, then people are gonna give you whatever you need to make that happen. The Yankees got better. The Red Sox did not. In fact, in this division this year, a division I think is going to be pretty good, the AL Beast. If you're not getting better, you're getting worse. The Yankees are getting better. The Blue Jays are getting better. It pretty much is this point is the Rays and the Red Sox that are watching everybody else leave them in the dust. So to have Rafi come out and say, hey, you know what I'd like? What do you call it? Help, any help, just any help at all. I don't have any issue because you know who else feels that way right now? You know who else feels like they would love to see the Red Sox? I don't know. Try. Red Sox fans. You know how nice it is as a fan when your player gives you a voice? You know how nice it is when you hear a player come out and express the same frustration in your team that you have? Even if it's in a way that is maybe counterintuitive. Like, I don't know, for instance, if your star defensive end comes out and takes a relatively silent but deadly onto your head coach because your head coach is hot garbage. Me. Then I go, I was right. I'm justified. I'm justified in my frustration, and I can still support my players because they feel it too. That's where I'm at. I'm not a Red Sox fan. I'm only a Red Sox fan in they're connected to the drive, and I went to a game at Fenway, and I had the time of my life. That's all I got. What I am in favor of is players putting the blame off of their shoulders. Sometimes it is their fault. And if it's their fault, they say something dumb like this, I'll come after them too.
The haters.
But this ain't on Rafi. The position the Red Sox are in is not on Rafi. It's on the management who has watched an entire offseason so far come and go and made no news as far as getting better. So yes, Texter, when we were ESPN Radio, I absolutely dogged ESPN. And I knew I was taking a risk. Didn't stop me, just like right now. If it came out tomorrow that CBS Sports had a hand in getting Florida State locked out of the playoffs, I'd macho man dog them too.
Oh, yeah.
They'd catch this smoke too. Because if you did nothing wrong, you're not worried about having your feet held to the fire. I just hadn't played that in a minute. And that was a real good spot for it.
And you can't do it without the head movements for some reason. It's weird.
Because it's a banger. You know?
Okay. All right.
I love it.
Look at you. I mean, the head's still moving. Then you played it and you were still right on time. Way to go.
All right, we got to take a break. Come back here in a minute. Got a few more things I want to get into before we get up out of here for the day. This Charlie Baker interview. Sat down yesterday with Espen and talked a little bit about the transfer rules and if they will be a change in. Talked a little bit about the expansion of the NCAA men's basketball tournament. We'll talk about what Charlie Baker had to say yesterday when we come back on the Rob Brown Show in the Fan Upstate.
WORD Weather Center. Here's the Carolinas' most trusted forecast.
All right, guys, going to hit the restroom. Be right back.
For your free quote, call Select Quote at 1-800-890-7878. That's 1-800-890.
All right, my thoughts on the bloodline, Zach, is that it's a ruse. It's not real. The Rock's going to turn on Roman, and you're still going to get that match. It's just going to be later on. And I'm tired of the bloodline. I mean, it's amazing that they've been able to keep the storyline going for a long time. I have no problem with long storylines. Just a little when Roman stopped wrestling all the time, it lost it for me. Steven, to answer your question, you didn't put sweet potatoes in there. because I had to go with sweet potato with some cinnamon on it and some butter. Oh, so good.
So hurry into Staples now for the Staples Sudathon and grab a seat or two. Ends 3-2. In-store only. See associate for details.
You might not know this, but the
I
English
wonder what
bakery
it's
is
like to
actually
be
a
a
bakery.
soup or
As in,
hero.
we bake things, really delicious things.
I wonder what
Things
I'd
like
do if I
crusted
could
bread,
fly
just
right
waiting
now.
for that scrumptious strawberry jam. Apple fritters to pair perfectly with that morning cup of coffee.
I don't know why that song just got stuck up in my head.
I'm so glad I have no idea what it is you're singing.
You can come and see it when I'm done.
Yeah, this is the same stuff over and over again, Zach, and it's getting old. I mean, it's time to end it. No, as I said earlier, you weren't in here when Roman stopped wrestling all the time and only wrestled, once a month, if that. It just lost everything for me. It's just like, okay, all right, you need to just go ahead and end this now.
You did not build it up to not have a WrestleMania moment. What are you going? You're going to have him give it away at Backlash?
No. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying I want the bloodline to end.
Right. But
Yeah.
you have to have that end in a moment.
You're right.
It's like Friday Night SmackDown. Oh God, the bloodline's dead.
It could have ended last WrestleMania, is what I mean.
But then you wouldn't have had Roman built into whether you think it went on too long or not.
You're
one of
such
the
a
best heels
contrarian,
they've had
man.
years.
We all agree, me and the people on the stream, and you're going against it. That makes you a contrarian. Yeah, that's probably what he's been doing. He's probably been taking acting lessons. And if you saw him in Hobbs and Shaw, you realize that he needed some. Still loved Hobbs and Shaw. That's probably my favorite movie that The Rock was in. That was really good. Also, Jason Statham. So.
The Rob Brown Show rolls on. It is the Fan Upstate. Rob Alonso with you here on a lovely Upstate Wednesday afternoon. Coming up on tomorrow's show, of course, we got Rashad Beard of the Panther Nation podcast joining us at 8:20, where we will talk Panther football with him. Obviously, the discussion tomorrow going to be about free agents and the tag. There is smoke coming up out of Charlotte, metaphorically speaking, that Brian Burns will be franchise tagged sometime in the next couple of days as the two sides have grown further apart on an extension. Brian Burns wanted $27 million a year last year. He has apparently upped that number to 30, primarily because of the fact that he had to do so much this year. He had to play 2 seasons in 1. That's how much work he got called on.
You just twacked.
Twiggity, 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 twack. So we'll see how that plays out. We'll ask Rashad Beard his thoughts on that tomorrow. And of course, tomorrow's Thursday. You know what that means. Fight Club with the great Alonzo, as we have a premium live event this weekend at 5 a.m. on Saturday. Huzzah. And then we are, not that we aren't already, but
Come on. If you wake up, you're going to be like, yeah, I'm awake. I'm going to go ahead and watch this.
I'm going to be real honest. I kind of assumed that I would start waking up earlier on weekends just out of habit. I do not.
I wake up around 7. So, I will have missed half of it. And Peacock sucks, so you can't rewind it back and watch it till the end.
That is rough.
Yeah.
That is rough. All right. So let's get to this Charlie Baker interview. Of course, the Presidente of the NCAA sat down with ESPN's Dan Murphy to do an interview. I won't do that anymore. The president of the organization said he is not in favor of rules or federal legislation that would place new limits on the way college athletes transfer between schools. During his interview with ESPN yesterday, Baker harbored no sympathy for what he described as the many coaches who have publicly complained about the difficulties they have in maintaining stable rosters in the new college sports environment that carries fewer restrictions on player transfers and allows for NIL deals that have been proven to be incentives for players to consider changing teams. Charlie Baker said, quote, I've had conversations with a bunch of coaches who didn't walk out on their contracts. One of the things I hear from kids when I talk to them about this issue is coaches walk out on their contracts. What about us? Do they transfer more than they did 10 years ago? Yes. Do they transfer more than their peers who aren't student athletes? No. They actually transfer less than students who aren't student athletes do. And kids just transfer more because they have more information, more data, and they're more impatient about a lot of things, end quote. Asked about a potential law that would restrict the transfer portal, Charlie Baker said, quote, I'm not much on that. I'm not, end quote. If you want to see the whole interview, you can go find it on ESPN's website. It's, or at least last I checked, it was front page, which of course it is. It's a huge moment. Charlie Baker, I got to tell you, I don't dislike this guy as El Presidente so far. I really don't. Hey, it's not to say I love the guy. I think he's fine at the job. And in this role, compared to what we've had in some previous guys like Mark Emmert, I am thrilled with okay at the job. I like this take. I like this take on the portal. Now, I will say this. I didn't double check Charlie Baker's numbers. Okay? I didn't check his numbers. I don't know if what he said about the transfer rate of athletes versus non-student athletes is true. If schools lose more non-student athletes at a faster rate than they lose athletes who are transferring, I don't know if that's true or not. I kind of think Charlie Baker's not gonna say that if he doesn't have confirmation on the number. Okay, so I'm willing in this point to take him at his word on that. I've said and I'll keep saying, I don't care whether athletes transfer at half the rate or twice the rate of regular students into and out of schools. I do not care because this is a different circumstance. This is the one industry where for some reason America has decided that you should not have the freedom to participate where you want to participate. This is the only arena that I am aware of where we have decided that we do not think people, Americans, adults, should have the right to decide if they wish to continue to participate under an organization or not. We don't do that with our barbers. We don't do that with our scientists. We don't do that with our garbage men. We don't do that with our cops. We don't do that with any other industry. Do we say, no, 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 you should have to stick this out. You should have to stay here because it's impacting me and a thing that I like. We don't do that with anybody else. If I tomorrow said, hey, I'm leaving this radio station and I'm transferring up to wherever to be the new midday host for 3 times the money, most of y'all would celebrate. Some of y'all would be sad. I don't think anybody would call the station and be like, you need to write a law that prevents Rob from leaving because if he leaves, I got to find a new morning show and I don't want to do
When
that.
you go, I hope it's Montana. I hope you get stuck in the snow somewhere just to prove how much money means to you. You're willing to go up there to the great white north.
Montana's a beautiful state. I've been there. In the spring. I'd actually really like to get up there for a Montana Grizz football game because I've heard it's absolutely incredible. In the first 2 weeks of the football season, I ain't trying to go up there when they're trying to play in a 19 inches of snow blizzard. Bleep that noise. But you stick enough zeros on the paycheck, I'll do anything. So we'll see how it goes.
How many zeros would that take for snow? How many are we talking?
1 more zero for every degree below zero it is.
Okay, depending on where you're going, that would be a lot of zeros.
Correct. I will stand on that. So,
you know what? You couldn't convince me, no matter how many zeros, to go back to the snow.
Well, you know me, Zoe. I'm still, again, young and vivacious, full of vigor and youth and zeal. What's a little cold if I got a 19-figure paycheck coming in 19 degree below zero temperatures?
That cold will sap that vigor right out you.
Dude, it was not cold this morning and I was miserable. I walked out. I started the car early
So it
this
was like
morning.
30 degrees this morning. That's fairly cold. I mean, for here.
Temperature in, I don't know. Give me a city in Wyoming.
Oh, I thought we were going Montana.
Oh, let's go Montana.
Butte.
Butte. You just wanted to say butt on the radio. 14 degrees right now.
How cold is it?
Wind chill of about 6.
Okay, how cold is that at night?
Overnight tonight, it'll be around 9 degrees. That's not enough degrees. That's too few degrees. All right. Your degrees should always, at the very least, have double digits and a plus sign attached. That's not enough degrees. But for, I don't know, we'll say $1 million a year, I can buy a real nice jacket, is all I'm saying.
No, man.
I can afford a lot of firewood at $1 million a year.
Full on coat. You ain't going jacket in that.
Parka. Anyway. I like this out of Charlie Baker. I like this because while there are people, coaches, who are out there asking Congress to write a law that prevents athletes from jumping schools, the president of the NCAA is on the front lines going, no, I don't think we need that. I don't think we need that. I think the goal of the NCAA has always been, and this is what I think to some degree Charlie Baker is saying, and it is what I'm saying. The goal of the NCAA is very simple. It is to organize a grounds for athletic competition at the collegiate level that escalates to the highest level possible, the experience and the success of the athletes who play under it. The transfer rule has been a good thing. I know some of you don't like it because, oh, my roster changes every year. Yep, sure does. Sure does. Seems to me like you would be doing very well to find a coach who knows how to bring guys in and keep guys there. So I appreciate this out of Charlie Baker because while you can send whoever you want up to the hallowed halls of Congress in Washington, D.C., USA, I suspect that legislators on Capitol Hill are likely going to have a much more difficult time throwing new laws on the books about the portal if the president of the organization who oversees the whole thing is the first guy that's out on the front lines going, yeah, we don't actually need legislation. It's working just fine right now. So I think that's a big deal. Second thing that he talked about was the expansion of the NCAA March tournament. He said, quote, most of the people who follow college sports think the NCAA tournament in basketball is perfect, right? So anything that's done to change it needs to be done with care and consideration. I got my alliteration messed up. I'm good with this. I am not going to argue that the NCAA tournament definitely will not be better if you expand it. I think that would depend on how far you want to expand it, how many teams you're going to let in, how you're going to decide what those teams are. Is it going to be done so that they're, as a lot of people claim, though I don't believe them, that this is going to be done for more access for mid-majors, for one-bid conferences? Is this going to be done so that the FUs of the world, the Furmans of the world, if they have a fantastic season, you know, they end up with 2-3 losses on the schedule when it's all said and done, and they go to the Southern Conference Finals and they have one of 2 or 3 bad nights on the year, and they get bounced by Chattanooga in the SoCon tournament finals. Let's say Chattanooga's got, 8, 9, 10 losses, but they beat Furman on the biggest night, the one that counts, and they get the trophy. All of us agree in that spot. Out of the Southern Conference, the Dins in our little hypothetical world here, the Dins should be dancing, not the Mocs. But Furman gets bounced because the Southern Conference has enough respect for one bid. Are we doing this so that in that case, Furman gets in? We can have room for a team that checks in second in the SoCon despite having a better regular season than the team that beats them? Or are we doing this so that, Texas A&M gets in? Are we doing this so that a team that lost to, who was it last night? Who'd they lose to last night? Somebody bad, right? This is a team that dominated Kentucky, that beat Tennessee, yet got swept by Arkansas, having an atrocious year, and LSU. Yeah, they lost to the Hogs last night, 78-71. That moves Arkansas to 504-9 in conference. Texas A&M yesterday in a single game went from they're in to they're solidly on the bubble. Solidly on the bubble. I can't see any way to declare the Colt anywhere but on the bubble. So are we doing this so that Furman can get in with our hypotheticals? Or are we doing this so that A&M can get in and the Southeastern Conference can have one more team dancing? And yes, I am sorry to say that for this particular occasion, I have stolen and adorned Lonzo's tinfoil cap. The everything's a work cap. I have done so because of what happened in the land of collegiate football. I absolutely am one of the weirdos, one of the conspiracy theorists that is all bought in on it was a media blitz that got Bama in last minute and got FSU the boot. I absolutely believe it. So are we doing this so that you can get more SEC teams in, you can get more Big Ten teams in, you could get a middling team like Maryland in? Are we doing this so that there is more access for the Furman Paladins, the SoCon runners-up of the world? If it's the latter, I can be talked into it. If it's the former, if you're doing this because, look, the SEC's got Alabama in, they've got Tennessee in, they've got South Carolina in, they've got Auburn in, they've got Florida in, they've got Kentucky in, and then you've got a group of 6-6 teams. Ole Miss is 6-6, Mississippi State 6-6, Texas A&M 6-7. Are you doing this so you can get the SoCon runners up in if they had a better record? Or are you doing this because the SEC's got a laundry list of 500 teams that are considered bubble teams, and the TV ratings are going to be better if you find a way to sneak the teams from Mississippi in? Because the SEC gets more money if you sneak Mississippi in. What's the reason? What's the desire to expand this? Because I'm going to tell you right now, I love the tournament. We all love the tournament. I love the tournament. The tournament is already watered down. You add another 30 teams to it. You add another 30 teams. You get to a point where a full 1/3 of eligible teams goes dancing every year. You're going to create a spot where the tournament loses juice. There's a spot somewhere in there where America's, I'm going to say, favorite sporting event, because there's so much more of it, where America's favorite sporting event suddenly gets so watered down that I don't need to watch the first few rounds. You might give me one, maybe two upsets out of 50 games before I get to the part of the tournament where it's consistently happening. I don't feel the need to water this tournament down any more than it already is. So I'm glad and that's not to say I'm unwilling to listen to the argument for expansion. I'm absolutely willing to listen to it. I've already told you what that argument needs to be for me to buy in. If we decide to add some teams and give top 7 seeds all a bye, top 6 seeds all a bye, and we're doing this so that the runner-up of the SoCon, the runner-up of the Big Sky, the runner-up of the AAC, all one bid conferences now have an opportunity to get in more teams, then sure, I'm willing to listen. But if your answer is this is just more room for the guys at the top so we can fit more guys at the top in and get more money for guys at the top being in, now I'm uninterested. Now I'm out. Don't water it down anymore for that. I know it's a money grab. I'm kind of getting tired of it. Let's take a break. We'll come back. We'll ask what the X is going on, and then we get up out of here for the day. My name is Rob Brown. Lonzo on the ones and twos. The Rob Brown Show rolls on. It's the Fan Upstate.
I'm Tony Desiri with your sports update on the Fan Upstate. The NASCAR Cup Series will be racing Sunday at the Atlanta Motor Speedway. 260 laps for the Am Better Health 400. William Byron is coming off a win at the Daytona 500 on Monday, while Joey Logano is the defending champion from last year's spring race at Atlanta. The Xfinity Series and the Craftsman Truck Series will both race at the Speedway on Saturday. Major League Baseball, the Atlanta Braves will continue full squad workouts in Florida today with their first spring training game scheduled for Saturday against the Tampa Bay Rays in Port Charlotte. The Braves are the defending NL East champions, but did lose in 4 games to the Philadelphia Phillies in the postseason. NBA, the Charlotte Hornets return from the All-Star break on Thursday as they take on the Utah Jazz in Salt Lake City. It's a 4-game road trip for the Hornets, who enter the All-Star break on a 3-game win streak. Download the Odyssey app and search The Fan Upstate. Then listen anywhere on your phone. I'm Tony Desiri, and that's your Sports Flash on The Fan Upstate.
Sick and tired of achy joints? Dread the idea of surgery?
I have watched the X-Men 97 trailer like 9 times. And I cannot wait to see the scene where Gambit charges Wolverine's claws and see what they do with that.
Unless the trailer lies.
No, I hope not, because
Those, that happens sometimes. But I hope you're right.
I have paused that trailer on that particular frame about 9 times. It's so good.
QC Kinetics advanced state-of-the-art treatments harness and direct your body.
Text from the Swamp Rabbits. Their send out text from the top rope. Come say what's up this Sunday at Wrestling Night.
May 2024, the year you reclaim your mobility, reclaim your independence, walk and run, play and live without the danger and trauma of surgery and without harmful drugs. Call QC Kinetics now for a free consultation. 864-448-3772. That's 864-448-3772, Greenville and Asheville.
If you're facing $10,000, $20,000, or even $30,000 or more in credit card debt, medical bills, or other unsecured debt, there are programs available that can consolidate those debts into one single reduced monthly payment you can afford if you qualify. Accredited Debt Relief is on a mission to help you become debt-free in just 24 to 48 months. They've helped over 300,000 qualified consumers, hardworking Americans just like you.
Yeah, I don't know if you were in the stream earlier, Zach. They're working on getting him on the show either tomorrow or Friday. And if we can't get him on while we're on the air, we will record an interview with him. My first question will probably be, what happened to little Jimmy, and have you seen him lately?
873-7171. Program and services not available in all states.
Wendy's new breakfast 2 for $3 Biggie bundles let you create your own delicious combo. Choose from a sausage biscuit, egg and cheese biscuit, small seasoned potatoes, and a medium hot coffee. But it's obvious which combo's the best. Sausage biscuit and small seasoned potatoes. Well,
And a follow-up, how old is little Jimmy now? And why is little Jimmy little Does he just not grow? I mean, I just have a lot of little Jimmy questions. I know that gimmick's like 10 years ago, but I just want to know, because does little Jimmy age? I don't know if he does.
You remember the segment where Triple H pretended he was talking to imaginary people just to show our truth how nuts he was?
Okay, great. Do you have any special offers on them? Right now, you can get a $10 bonus reward when you buy a pair. Restrictions apply. Offer available to AutoZone Rewards members.
When my daughter gets a cold, I have a secret weapon.
I have heard him on other shows, and
Kids, especially
it could be interesting.
treat kids' most bothersome cold and cause symptoms quickly. And the best part,
100% want to ask him, what happened to where's little Jimmy been?
That's what I just said while you're out of the room. I mean, you know, what's he been doing lately? Has he gotten any taller? Does he ever age? I mean, is he married with kids now? I mean,
is there a little Jimmy Jr. running around?
yeah. I mean, these are important things. All right, it is the time of the show where we ask what the X is going on, and Rob will tell us all what the X is going on. The first thing that's Xing, yo, is Ringo.
So yesterday they made the announcement that they would be coming out with 4 separate movies, one for each of the Beatles. I assume that they would all culminate with the same scene of the first forming of the Beatles. I enjoy these music biopics. I enjoy Bohemian Rhapsody. The fiance and I have planned on at some point finding time to go watch the Bob Marley. I'm a big reggae guy, really excited about the Bob Marley movie. However, the problem is, being an audiophile, I know Queen, and a lot of what happened in Bohemian Rhapsody is not what happened. They were releasing songs and albums in the wrong order. They were telling stories that weren't true about different shows they played, et cetera, et cetera. So I'm a little bit concerned that the story of the forming of the Beatles may be the most influential band of all time. They won't get it right. And for some reason, I don't know why, because I wasn't uber concerned about it with Queen, wasn't super concerned about it with Bob Marley. I'm very concerned that if you take too many creative liberties with the Beatles, you kind of lose how important they were with a generation so separated from them.
I'm hoping that they go beyond the formation of the Beatles. I would hope that they would go all the way up to present time, or when they were no longer with us, because I personally want to see when Ringo met Daisy Duke and how he was able to woo her. I want to see that happen.
That's fair.
So, I mean, and who will be portraying Daisy Duke in the biopic? I mean, you can have your Linda, you can have your whoever else. I just want to see the Daisy Duke thing. I'm curious about that.
I agree. I'm good with it. I will tell you this about Ringo Starr. Ringo Starr constantly gets mocked and made fun of for being one of the most simplistic, famous drummers of all time. Dude, that's the Beatles. That's just what they were. And it was Ringo was perfect for what that band needed. And once the Beatles broke up and they all kind of started doing their own thing, some of the stuff Ringo came up with was a lot better than Octopus's Garden, for the record.
He also was in a movie called Caveman, which I think might be where he met Catherine Bach, by the way. Which was it was pretty funny. All right, the next. So which one are you most excited about? Ringo is trending because he's the one people least want to see, supposedly.
Yeah, I get it. I mean, listen.
And I think George Harrison's could be the most boring. But there again, if you go past when the Beatles, then someone who wanted to be with his wife comes into play and writes Layla. I mean, there's a lot of stuff that happened after the Beatles that are just as interesting.
See, and my assumption here is that this is at least the first round going to be a Beatles origin story, but maybe not, right? Maybe not, because the Beatles formed not relatively, the Beatles were young when they formed. And so I'm going to be straight up with you. I don't necessarily need like a childhood take, but I would say this. I'd watch the hell out of a documentary about how the Beatles came up with sounds during their experimental days. I'd watch the hell out of a documentary about how Harrison was putting some of these creative and innovative sounds at the time together, sounds that every rock star since has dabbled in. I'd watch the hell up out of that. So I'm real interested to see what angle they decide to go with this.
All right, the next thing that is Xing Yo is Batman Beyond.
I got nothing.
Okay, the reason why it is Xing is the guys who made Spider-Verse are pushing a Batman Beyond movie.
For it.
Yeah, yeah, it's
the Batman animated world, and I'm talking all the different series, competes with the Batman movies. In fact, I wouldn't even say competes. I would say the Batman animated worlds have been better than the Batman movies. You give me Batman Beyond, which was a phenomenal animated series, I would be all in.
All right, one last thing. Jamie Lee Curtis is Xing.
Big fan. Got no reason why she should.
The Borderlands movie.
Yep.
Based off the game, the trailer drops today, and she's in the movie.
Okay.
So
I'm intrigued. I'm not a big Borderlands guy. Didn't really play it.
Yeah,
Don't really know it.
The art style bothered me, so I didn't like it very much.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll see. That's it for us, ladies and gentlemen. Hope you enjoyed the show. If you didn't, sucks to be you. We'll try again tomorrow, and we'll do a better job. My name is Rob Brown. The Great with Lonzo is over on the other side of the glass. We're back tomorrow to do it all over again, but hopefully better on the Rob Brown Show with a fan upstate later. Yeah.
Also, the trailer for Elden Ring's DLC drops today. And that game was like out 2 years ago, wasn't it?
Yep.
You guys are welcome.
Rob Star, thank you very much, bud. Very kind of you. Wesley, thank you, man. Appreciate you guys letting us be a part of your day. Mean it. Have a lovely day. We'll see you back here tomorrow. Tell your friends about us. Goodbye.